Hey guys, welcome to Little Black But 91. Listen, we're giving you guys a super panel for tonight. Yes, this episode was carnage. You know, certain people wanted to bring warfare to the stage. Some people already brought war to the stage. Some people here. No, let me stop. Okay, listen. Look, it was a great episode actually. I think it was nice to see several different things happening as well, that were going on within the show. We had Will losing it. We had Alexis being the leakage in the women's lounge. We had Kashia trying to fight Alexis. We had, Mika checking Jonathan. We had, LaRon on the case of Maya, a case of the ex. But you know what? Old girl says she ain't really feeling it, but that was through her body language. Shout out to LaRon as well. Lamar, as always, pushing the boundaries that he doesn't need to push because there aren't no boundaries here. You just don't need to start. And then we had somebody. I think there was a lot more other things happening. We had the new guy Justin come in. He's a physical educational teacher. He got on very, very well with Rashina as well. Vanessa and Chaz seem to be getting on as well. I mean, she was underneath the duvet smiling from ear to ear. Chaz was smiling from ear to ear too. Yeah. Can't lie to you. All right, it was quite the episode as well, and I've got a few people behind the stage with me today as well to discuss what was actually happening. We're gonna have a great show tonight and a great conversation as well. Look, let's keep it classy, let's keep it cute in the chat as you guys always do, but let's keep it interactive as well. So please do keep your comments coming in the chat as well. I'm sure a lot of people from Ready to Love will probably end up popping in the chat as well. Bless them, okay? All right, bless them, all right? Don't kill them too much, all right? Let's keep it a safe space for them as well, all right? Make sure you guys like, share, subscribe, click on that bell button for notification of the uploads. Yes, we want you guys to make sure you guys are subscribed to the channel if you haven't done so already. We're here every Saturday for Ready to Love. And I'm sure we'll also be here as well when Love is Blind drops on the 14th. Are you guys going to be with us? Yes, Love is Blind is going to drop. I know you guys keep telling me to do the Love is Blind Sweden. I just ain't got the time. I can't lie to you. I don't know where you lot find. I just ain't got the time. I tell you, I just ain't got the time. I tell you. But yeah, we'll be here for Love is Blind as well, and we'll be dropping lives every single day on every single episode because y'all know that y'all can't do it, but I can. Okay, all right. So we gonna get on that show for you guys as well in the coming months. So February is the month of love. So listen, if you haven't got love in your life right now, I'm prophesying you're going to find somebody who's going to love you. Okay? You're going to find somebody who loves you. So if you're single at this moment, let me just tell you now, Father God in heaven, how we love you. We're just praying that, Lord, you release the mans, okay? Because I have a majority woman audience. Lord, release the mans, okay? Release the good ones, okay? Father in heaven, release the ones that are fine, handsome, tall, got money in the pocket, okay? Lord, release the good mans, okay? Chocolate fine, full of money, full of good health, full of good generosity. Release the funds and release those type of men onto the ladies in Jesus' name, okay? All right? Release. Okay, all right, because what we loose in heaven, we also loosen in the earth as well. Okay, Father, we thank you. All right, cool. Listen, we gonna get into this. I see my peoples are behind as well, so they are ready to have this conversation. I'm full of life. I've had a good nap, as you can tell, because the energy's on me. I had a good nap. I slept well. That last 2 hours was beautiful. Okay, I just slept like a baby. All right, so I am ready to hold up a good show today. I'm sure probably be like, 3 hours or so? Yeah, probably. We'll be here till midnight. Some of you ain't going to church on time, but don't worry about that. All right, cool. Let's get this show rocking as well. Okay, all right, let's get the show. I'm sure my deacon will arrive very, very soon. Deacon likes to be a little late when he comes to the church, so we will be expecting him. But my fellow ladies are ready to go and rocking as well. Again, once more, please, if you haven't done so, like, share, subscribe. There's 230 of you guys in the room. If you haven't liked the live already, what are you doing? Okay, get that thing. Ooh, let me not say that. Please just like the live. It sounded a bit wrong there. I was going to go left with it, but please just like the live as well, guys. It just helps with the analytics, and it helps as well to send a message that you actually like the show we are putting on. Okay, yeah, someone said where 2 or 3 are gathered, indeed he is in the midst. And it also says where 2 agree, okay, as well. So we agreeing for the mans, okay? Let the mans be released in Jesus' name. Amen. Come on. All right, cool. Let's get the show popping. Let's get the show on the way. And let me get my fellow guests on the stage as well. Fantabalismo. Fantabalismo. Fabatabalismo. All right, cool. Let me put my headphones in so that I don't miss out as well, because I'm going to have echo in the feedback. All right, cool. Looking at my lovely people. I'm seeing C, where I'm seeing J. I'm not seeing J. I can't see you. I don't know what's going on. Aries, and I see Glenn as well. I'm sure I think one or two will probably join us a little bit later on as well. Okay, let's get the show popping. Let me open up with a question. First and foremost, I want to ask you guys a question. What stood out the most for you on this episode? So each person, just let me know what stood out for you most on this episode. See where I'm gonna go to you. You know what I'm saying? Loving the look, by the way, today. Okay, want to know what stood out most for you today.
I think the ending, the male identified pick me of it all, that was really surprising for me, for sure. I wasn't expecting that. I think I took a serious turn from the beginning of the episode, from how I felt until the end. That was unfortunate to see. And there's no promises that this is going to be a safe space for everyone. I actually took notes today because you guys say that I don't pay attention. So I actually took the time on my Saturday to take notes. So if you acted crazy on this episode, I can't promise that it'll be a safe space from me.
I love the disclaimer. It is what it is, as they say. Yep, thank you. Aries, what stood out to you on this particular episode for you? Loving the hair as well.
Thank you. I just washed it, so it's wet. Lamar went home. Hallelujah. Hallelujah. I was I was like, if he don't go home, they playing all the games, but I think we all knew that. So that was very satisfying. And you said the magic word, Seaway. I was looking for you last night. I was like, where is Seaway when you need her? Yeah, so that was the biggest thing for me. And then there's a bunch of other stuff too, but I was happy that we can move on. Let's push this thing on forward, because that was just game, you know. So.
Appreciate it, Aries. Thank you very much. Glenn, talk to me. What stood out for you in this episode tonight, man?
Mika having a double standard stood out for me because she's tripping on somebody that was married, but she was once married. So it's like, to me, why was there a double standard? And I don't remember you ever telling me. Remember her telling the first person she was married, but I don't remember her ever telling Jonathan that she was married. So what's the double standard for?
I hear it. The brother said, listen, let's gather everybody here tonight. See, the Lord said he gathering the wheat and the chaff together. He said, yeah, I'm going to gather you up too. Okay? So I appreciate you, Glenn. You on point tonight. All right, cool. Let's get straight into it then, I guess. One of the major contentional points on the show, let's start off strong, was the beef between Kashia and Alexis. It was a big argument that turned a little bit crazy with, Kashia actually getting angry to the point where she, threatened Alexis and then ended up having to walk outside. It almost was a repeat, a little bit of last season's episode with Tequila and Janelle, in a sense, but probably a little bit less without the kind of build up. We didn't get to see the build up this time. But I want to get you guys' points. I know we spoke about it a little yesterday, but we can actually extend it today, so we'll be able to have a bit more of a discourse around it. I want to know your points of view on terms of how you actually saw that situation, and your opinion on that situation. I know, see where you took some notes, so I want to go to you first, just because you didn't get to say anything last time, because we had a conversation yesterday. But I want to get your thoughts. What was your thoughts on that situation with Kashia and Alexis and the situation that they had going on?
Well, now I feel like I missed some. I was asleep last night. Y'all talked about this yesterday.
We had a very short conversation about it. Yeah, it was an hour show, so it was literally a little preload. But we were waiting for you.
Okay. Here's the thing. So it seems like, Alexis literally was violating all of the rules that Tommy already gave them, because he's been through this before. So he said, don't go back from the ladies' lounge with details. But I guess because she was trying to save her man, the guy that she likes, Will, right? She was trying to give him feedback, which I understand, but you're doing too much with that feedback. You're saying too much, right? And you're giving somebody feedback that has now in turn snitched on you. So you're trying to help him out, and he done went back and already told people that you're the one that's going back and telling people. So you're trying to help somebody that doesn't have any discretion themselves. So that should have been the ding dong. First of all, if I'm trying to help you out, nobody else should even know that I'm going back and I'm telling you things to give you pointers. But he's snitching, so he's not somebody you should be helping anyway. But that's a side note, right? So you're telling people, you're telling this man stuff that you're not supposed to be telling. And then we get to the ladies' lounge, and here where's the pick me male identified situation comes in. Ma'am, if this lady is saying that this man is being inappropriate, which I remember from the first episode, Will and Lamar, right? They were both kind of weird and inappropriate, right? You don't discredit another woman's experience because you didn't experience it. And I'm really glad that Koshia, before she ended up getting too upset, ate her up. But because maybe, perhaps, if you don't have body yaddy yaddy, titties titty itties, booty booty booty, whatever, maybe the men aren't trying to objectify you. And I was just saying that, when you just have a really thin body, model type body, right? Pretty face, nice hair. A lot of times you're going to get men who are actually attracted to you for you or your face card. That's great for her. But if you have a lot of body, you come with a lot of booty, you come with a lot of things, you have to sort through not only those men, but men who are coming around trying to objectify you. So that's an experience that Alexis can identify with. She can't identify with that experience. She's shaped very real like, which is fantastic if you want to model, but you may not be having people trying to subject you and objectify you and things like that. So I just really felt like, you don't ever diminish another woman's experience, because that man will make a fool out of you. The man that you're going to bat for in the ladies' lounge will, in fact, make a fool out of you. You don't do it. You don't stick your neck out like that, because you're going to look stupid. So I was really, really disappointed in her, because from the first date, most of y'all know who follow me on Instagram, I love basketball. I love sports. I love that she was a ref. I love that she could kick it with the homies. Like, that's how I am. So I really was like, oh, I see myself in her. Like, I loved how she planned a basketball date. That's something that I would do. I was like, oh, she's so cool. Her personality is so cool. But for her to be relatable to men and turn that into being male identified and pick me ish was very disappointing. And Koshia has to learn, and then I'll cut off. Koshia has to learn. She has to take some anger management courses, and I say this with love. As a person who probably have taken a few anger management techniques, because I get upset, y'all probably don't know because I've worked on it. You got to count from 10 to 1, because she done let Alexis get her out of character, and she could have really ate her up better, but she couldn't, because then she got so upset. So I hope she looks at this and enrolls in some anger management courses for her sake, because I think she'll be able to deliver her points a little better if she doesn't get so upset. Because I'm glad Tommy and everybody still ate Alexis up for what she did, but some people can get distracted by her delivery because she got so upset. So I do hope that she gets just some anger management courses for her, because there's going to be more types of Alexis around. It's going to be male identified, annoying, and they're going to try you. They're going to really test your anger management, and you got to be able to manage. And she did not manage very well. So count, if you're listening, count to 10 and then down to 1. It really works. It really, really works. And then breathe. And then if that doesn't work, then you leave like you did. So.
What a strong start from the first lady. Thank you. She just delivered the word right there. We appreciate you, Seaway. Thank you. Let me get JR in, and then I'm gonna get Glenn in, because I know you guys didn't get to speak on this when myself yesterday was speaking about this as well. And then I'm gonna get Jay to I'm gonna get you to bring the tail end in, Jay. Okay, all right. Yeah, I know you're looking at me like what? Baby, I just want to spend more time with you. Okay, just relax. I got you. Okay. All right. Don't let them know that we talk. Okay. JR, talk to me. What's your thoughts on this? I mean, Koshia and Alexis had a situation. Siway's given us quite a strong foundational to start with, but do you disagree? Do you agree? Like, what's your thought process with the Koshia and the Alexis situation? How did you see it?
Yeah, I gotta agree with Seaway because they were told explicitly what happens in the women's lounge stays in the women's lounge. So if she's already going back at this early stage and telling people stuff, then she's violating the code already. And definitely Koshia erupts far too quickly for my liking. She definitely needs to temper that or control that, because while she's on the show, she's giving people ammunition for the men's lounge. Right? She continues to go off in the way she does, and the guys start to see it more often, or it happens to a couple of them. Then like they're gonna vote her off, because that's not going to be conducive to the type of relationship that they seem to want. And ultimately, we have had on previous seasons where it's really the ladies that someone's going off on instead of the guys. But you have to remember, the guys have the power to vote these ladies off. So Koshia, I wouldn't unpack her bags fully all the way yet, because I think her temper may be the reason why she gets sent home. That's my thoughts.
Thank you, JR. Glenn, talk to me.
I just know there's a lot of people talking, right? We know Koshia is not a friend of Will. Ever since Will questioned her about her husband being married and having 4 kids that she didn't know about, and so they've never been on the same page since then. So the question I thought about was, who told Koshia that Alexis and Will was having a conversation? Where did she get the information from? It doesn't validate the situation that Alexis was, breaking the rule of talking outside of the girls' group. But who came back? Who's Alexis talking to, or who's talking to Koshia to give her the information that Alexis is the snitch of the group, the gossiper in the group? So it seemed like there's a lot of things that we miss within their relationship. She do need some counseling. I agree with Seaway. She went to 0 to 100 like quickly, right? And it really too quick, in my opinion, over the situation. And Alexis never answered the question. She deflected. She never really answered the question that was presented to her about Will and about his behavior. And deflected. It all comes from Patrice anyway, because if you go back to it, Patrice was the one who said my man was sleeping on the floor. So it went to the whole circle of the women being involved in the situation. So it's a lot with this group here. I don't see them together at all, but I do believe that Koshia, I'm not gonna call it Tequila 2.0, because she got her own. Tequila went off, but she's Tequila 1.5. She's close to the situation, but it's a lot going on. I'm glad Tommy was able to bring them back together, but Alexis was wrong. Totally wrong. If it's a group thing and you're supposed to keep it within house, keep it close to your chest. Even if you thought you was helping, because what she said was, I was telling him to reel it in, or some of the women were saying you're, I guess what they would say, I think said you're aggressive or you're doing too much. Were you really helping, or you just try to put yourself up above everybody else? And I think that's what she was trying to do here. Hey, let me tell you what they're talking about you, so I can be safe, because I'm your number one. I'm your guy. I'm the person who's giving you information. But it's a lot going on here, man. It's a lot. But Koshia just needs some help, and Alexis needs to stop being the gossiper in the group.
Appreciate that, Glenn. Thank you very much as well. JJ, talk to me, man.
I'm gonna take a different approach, because what everybody else said is Valid. It's valid to what I have to say. However, this is approach more so for Alexis, and it's a learning tool for Alexis. If you are talking to somebody and you give them information, and somehow the information that you give them that was supposed to stay between you goes back to a whole group of people, that's a part right there to say, maybe I shouldn't trust this person. Maybe I shouldn't cape for this person. Maybe I should just listen to what everybody got to say, take it in, understand I might have overshared a bit in trying to help a person stick around, but obviously this person don't give a F about me because they would at least covered me when they went back with the information. They pointed out, Koshia specifically pointed out Lexi. Okay, gave her nickname and all, gave her next Lexi. That should have hit right there like, my man can't hold water. I might not be putting too much trust into this person because if we get into a whole relationship and we start having a conversation about whatever, how much of our conversation going to be out there? How much of our relationship is going to be in the streets? Side note onto that too, you do it again. I know it got to the end, but you do it again at the end. He already proved that he can't hold water, that he going to go back to the people to tell whatever you have to say. You're going to do it again. And I said this on the live the other day with Aries or whatnot. If I know I can't control my man's anger, why would I get him riled up? If I know for sure I can't calm him down, I'm not about to give him information that I know he gonna explode with. He already showed you that he can't hold the water. He be ready to go back. Now you want to calm him down. Well, I was voting for you. I was fighting for you. Okay. Well, and he already showed you that he can't control any information that you have. He can't sit on that information and do what he need necessary. So that was Alexis' point, to actually look at the situation, look at the man that she's dealing with, and just be like, maybe I shouldn't have divulged so much information. Hold that L. Instead of deflecting, just hold that L and say, you know what, ladies, lesson learned, my bad. But, it is what it is. Koshia, you sitting on ready. You don't like this man. You don't like Alexis. Because we already know they had their little beef at the bowling. Was it the bowling alley where they was? They was already trying to go a little bit tit for tat on the competition thing. So you sitting on ready. Anytime you sitting on ready and the person that you ready to get is say something to you, you're going to be ready to pounce. You can keep that energy with some people. Some people will let you sit there and say what you got to say. Other people going to pounce back. So you got to be careful now. I know we all like to think we got hands, but sometimes some people's hands are a little bit better than yours. So all that popping off, talking to Tommy and stuff, why? To be honest with you, Alexis didn't really say anything that should have got you that fired up. She was saying little stuff like, oh, you flirting with the man and this, that. Okay. She tried to get under my skin. I'd have got more under her skin. Every time she go low, I'm going to go a little bit lower. Your temperature is down, or my temperature going to be down. I'm not going to elevate. This ain't improv. I ain't got to go against you. So I'm just going to go down with you. Oh, you flirting with the man too much. Okay, well, that's what I do. That's what these men are here for, me to flirt with. You mad? You shouldn't have flirted with a man in front of him. Why? I don't want him. That's your man. I can flirt with who the hell I want in front of him. But the point is, why are you talking to him about whatever is going on in his lounge, though, sis? Let's stick to that. Let's stay on that track. When you get all irate and all this and stuff, it takes away from the subject at hand, which was her talking to him about what y'all got going on. Now, you look like the crazy one. She looks sane. So you got to work on that. Like everybody said, you might want to get a little anger management, a little therapy for that. Get some count to tens, 1, 2, 3, 3, 2, 1. What the heck about it? You know how that saying go. Whatever you got to do, breathe easy, sis. Breathe easy.
I'll add a little piece to this, just that it's too early. It's just too early for all the energy. It's too early for you to be pillow talking. It's too early for all of the things that are happening at this lounge. Because it probably right now we on episode 4. It's really probably week 2, like of real life. So like y'all don't know each other like that. And honestly, there's a lot going on all around you. You don't know who you can trust on this show. Like of the women, of the men, everybody has group chats. Y'all had separate mixers. There's probably a little alliances from the mixers, the people who are with each other from those mix, like all the different pieces. So it's too much to be, but this goes back to that thing of like emotional regulation and where people are, and why they're picked to be on the show. They know who's going to get hype, and for you to be like angry to the point of like ready to slap somebody or get physical, like you're prime, what they were looking for, and I also think I agree with the ladies on the, invalidating somebody else's experience. You don't know. I know she's trying to protect Will because Will is probably the only person that Alexis actually is feeling right now. So she don't want him to go home because that's her ticket as well. So her, instead of saying and recognizing that he went back and said something that I said, you totally went, let me go against this girl instead of, just saying, you know what? I didn't share specifics. I just told him that he needs to tighten up, and that's it. You know what? It's all good, whatever, and let it go. You went to like, if you wasn't flirting with the men, that's the part that got me. That's the part I was like, okay, now you're doing too much. It's like, if you didn't have that mini skirt on, you wouldn't have got assaulted type, thing. So I definitely wasn't feeling that energy on that. So it was ugly. And Tommy never has control in these situations. It's just, he just sitting there, and it wasn't really much that he could have done, I don't think, to fix it. But we see who is connected. Mika went, with Koshia and is it Rashina? So like there's some of the girls are in the same boat. Like they felt the same way. It was just Koshia being the mouthpiece saying, we all know that she said some things that we all said, so it's going to be interesting to see how that plays out with the rest of the people, during the show, like how those relationships play out on screen and different dates and stuff.
Listen, I absolutely hear this, and I think this, as you guys are saying, the situation is there's several moving components in this situation, right? I think Alexis's kind of comment around where she almost put, not even almost, she did, made it as if like, hey, you only got this because of X, Y, and Z, was very naive and premature, because we're going to see obviously next week that something similar seems to happen to her as well. But I felt like that both I understood where Kashia's anger was coming from. I understood where her frustration was coming from. I think see where you kind of mentioned it. You are going to miss the message, unfortunately, because of the way she's going to deliver it. It's unfortunate. That some people will only end up seeing now what Kashia has done. And they might miss what Alexis has done. Well, at least let me say the men's, because of course the ladies I'm sure will still pick up the message. But for the men's, most of us are probably going to end up still seeing the madness of I'm gonna slap you in the mouth, and the anger and the spurting, and then kind of miss the message. But I definitely understand what you're saying in terms of how, in terms of what Alexis has kind of said. It doesn't help anybody in that sense to kind of to say. That she was only in that situation because of X, Y, and Z. So it's gonna be interesting to see what happens next week and how she handles that, Alexis in the ladies' lounge. So I'm gonna see, and we'll have to wait and see what actually happens there. Any other thoughts though around the Alexis and Kashia situation? Any other thoughts that you? Yes, Jay, I'll go for it.
Yeah, I was just going to say also, this is a sign that in the ladies' lounge, maybe the ladies start to not trust Alexis. with their deliberations or confiding in her about their dates and things, because they may see her as the snake in the group. So she definitely needs to tread carefully with that. You know, as we know, like, there will be cliques and people that hang together and all that stuff. And sometimes you get people trying to team up and vote people out. But on the other side, if all the ladies start, moving away from her and make her feel alienated because of how she's been spreading the information, then that's not going to be a good look for her either. So it'll put more emphasis on her finding a match to stay on the show if she alienates herself from the rest of the group.
Yeah, real quick, I want to piggyback on that, and also piggyback on what Ari says. That also could get the girls together, just vote Will off together, all together, so they know that Alexis has to go. She has no other matches. We haven't seen her with anybody else. She had a little something with William, but I don't know if that's for real or not. But I doubt it. But I did like what Ari says as well, and I forgot when I was talking about Mika, Kashina, and all of them going to go comfort Kashia. You can see that group is getting tighter on that end, and she's going to be by herself eventually. And you can see that it's going to be real tough for her moving forward. Nobody likes the person in the group that talks, man. Nobody.
And I want to highlight, it's not just that she told him, right? I think, like Ari said, she could have got away with saying, like, hey, tighten up to him. If she would have said, hey, I was just trying to let him know that he wasn't being very appropriate so he can kind of change course in his actions. But that's all I was trying to do. I wasn't trying to break confidence in the group. I just wanted to let someone know that they need to tighten up, right? I think she would have gotten away with that. Where she messed up is you didn't say that, and then you proceeded to basically say that someone is hypersexualized and this and that, and that's the reason why she's being objectified. And then a person named Charlene says, so Kashia can body shame Alexis and that's okay. I want you to answer that question. What do you think? The thing is that Alexis opened the door to the conversation because she said Kashia is hypersexualized by whatever she's doing, whatever this, and that's the reason why she is being objectified. So if you start that way, I'm going to respond and say, hey, well, there's nothing sexual about you at all. So maybe that's the reason why you're not being hit on. If you don't open the door, you won't get the slap back. She got the slap back because she started it. So, I mean, that's just that on that. You don't start nothing that you can't handle the response to. And to Alexis' credit, she handled it fine. She sat there and she ate it. So at this point, who cares? Eye for eye, we can move on.
And can I just add one more point, which is, like, Kashia, I know we're going to get to it later, but you have to walk a tight line between sharing what the women have said in the lounge and also divulging too much information where you're throwing people under the bus, right? So, because when Kashia was eliminating Lamar, then, she said something and he was like, she said, I'm not speaking for all the women. I'm going to speak personally. And Lamar was like, but you are, right? You are speaking for all the ladies because they're the ones that have reached the consensus that he's going home. So I think there's always going to be, on those elimination type situations, the person that gets saved, they now know how the rest of the group are seeing them, and the delivery and how you're expressing or conveying what's happening. You have to be very careful to either not say that it's all the ladies feel a certain way and whether it's something you personally feel. So I just thought I'd add that.
But sometimes I'll add to this, like you are speaking for the group, right? But also some of that may be your own personal stuff in there. You're just throwing everything out that was mentioned, and it's up to the person to be like, I know who said that. That's kind of how the Chris Jessica thing got mixed up last year, because like, you know who said Joe Blood is combative. You don't need to go around and ask. You know who said it, right? So that was kind of the argument. It's like, if I mention certain things, you're in your mind going to say, I only told Patrice about the floor thing. So I know that was her. So then when he goes to war next week or whatever is going to happen, we'll know who, he's going to go after. So you can be general, in that sense, but, just have some tact and some thought around how you speak around things. Like, I knew Herbert before our season. I didn't go back telling him everything. If there was something where I'm like, your ass you better start returning some phone calls, or something like that. But nothing that I would feel like, if this come back on me, I'm gonna look crazy. Like, you got to still also be a part of the group. You know what I mean? So it is a fine line on how much you're going to share, because at the same time, you're like, I don't want people thinking that I'm going back telling this person something. So that's where I feel like she messed up, because she was trying to let him know, I'm letting you in. I'm your person in the ladies group. I'm able to tell you the tea. And that's going to give me points, because not only am I doing that, but I fought for you. I'm doing this and that. So now you're getting all these, you think you're getting brownie points, but inside he's like, I don't even care what you're saying right now. Now it's time to go. I'm going crazy, because you don't know this person. You don't know this man. So that's where she messed up, I think.
She also messed up, Aries, on being general, but giving specific events. One of the ladies, which is general, said that she was sleeping on a mat. That's specific. You're doing, you know what you're doing. You know what you're doing. Plus, you didn't even have to share that information. So you're still creating a problem for no reason. Because you just had a whole altercation in the ladies' lounge about going to him, telling them stuff. And here you go again at the very end, still doing the same thing. So you ain't even learned your lesson. So if you went outside and she bopped you over your head, maybe you'd have learned it then. I ain't saying that she would have beat you up, because I really don't know who got the hands out the two of y'all. But had y'all got to really tussling outside, maybe you would have kept your mouth closed again, instead of bringing up what was in the ladies' lounge. He don't have to know who said what about him to that degree. All it is the ladies feel like you are a little too over sexualizing them or whatever and stuff. Clean that part of you up. If you want to know about where he's sleeping at, y'all had that conversation about another time. Y'all can have that conversation another time. Keep whoever said it out the ladies' lounge out of it, because now he's ready to go to war, and you can't calm him down.
Yeah, she could have left it. I just don't think, we don't think you're, some people brought up that you're not that stable. But I need Ready to Love to stop playing and give us a full story, because why is this man sleeping on a cot? What is the whole story?
We don't know if he's sleeping on the floor.
But I don't think that. I really think they made it more sensationalized than it was, because I definitely don't think he's broke. He's not a broke person. So I think it just was one of those scenarios where maybe he was at a property somewhere far and he couldn't get back, whatever. And she might have misunderstood, that to mean that he was broke or whatever. Either way, that shouldn't have been something that Alexis actually communicated in the date, though. Like, if you know the man ain't broke, I don't know. I just feel like that was messy. That was just a messy fact. Like, a messy.
Was he stable?
I don't know. I think he's stable. I mean, I don't think he's a broke dude, not from what I know, but I just don't think that was. I feel like that was a lot more messy. I don't know his background, so I don't know.
Yeah, Patrice brought it up though. I mean, I know some real estate agents when they, like you said, Aries, that far properties, sometimes they can't get back. So you know what? I'm saying it's the property, because I got an early showing in the morning and I can't get back to my home. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna stay at this property today and just stay at the property. Like, I'm gonna sleep on the floor, sleep on an air mattress, keep an air mattress. I got a buddy who's a real estate agent, keep an air mattress in his car because he got far properties and he can't get back home. So guess what? I got a 7:00 showing in the morning. I'm not taking that 3-4 hour drive. So I'm just stay here, put the air mattress up before we get up, before my clients get up, get there, put it in the car, and call it a day. So,
and he's a flexing type of dude. So he's not about to he ain't gonna say nothing that make him sound broke to nobody. He is very, if anything, he gonna be making you think he got all the money in the world. We don't know how much money he got, But he is a person that will always be like, I got more money than all these dudes, like type of person. So I doubt that he was saying it in any other way than to lightweight flex that I got properties, or something like that, more than anything. So that's why I was like, I don't feel like it was, however he communicated, that's probably why he was all mad, because he's very much wanting you to know that he has whatever he got. So I don't know.
Well, Nancy in the comments said that he's a squatter, and I'm screaming in my head. I really wanted to die laughing. He's a squatter. You should be on timeout. But if you really flexing, sir, you gonna go down the street to that hotel that I'm sure is nearby. I'm not sure why he thought it was a flex to sleep at the house. If he wants to, fine. I'm not saying he's broke it off for sleeping there, but the flex would just be going to a hotel for the night so you can get a nice rest before you have to show this house. But what do I know? I don't know.
Are we talking about
To be fair,
I didn't know.
yeah, like to be fair,
we just got dragged into it. Poor guys got.
to be fair, he did.
Hold on, before we go, JL. Let me just read the super chat, because before you lot drag Will anymore, let me just read the super chat and I'll let you go. I promise you. Phil Good said, "Is telling a man he is being too aggressive with the ladies a bad thing? I didn't agree with denying Koshia experience with the men." Maybe that's a question you guys can quickly deliberate over, but I'll let you go, JR, and then I'll maybe ask the group this question. Go for it, JR.
Yeah, to be fair, that's why Will's on the warpath, because he said it didn't go down like that. That was some misinformation that was shared and used to put him in the bottom two. So that's why he's on the warpath. He feels like there's falsehoods being created, right? So, and as we see, like on previous seasons, if certain narratives are created, then it can really, it must really mess with you, because if you've told somebody something and they've gone and added 10 to it, and that's the reason why you're down there, then that's going to be felt or seen like it's not a valid reason to be put down there. So like I said, he specifically said it didn't go down like that. So if you got one person saying that's what he said, him saying, nah, it wasn't all of that, then, like, it's about who you believe at that point. But him going on the warpath, I want to know what he meant by that, because that sounds a bit problematic to me, going forward for him. You want to try and get the ladies on side, not go on the warpath and start trying to gun them down, verbally, of course. Don't want to dress them down, because they're the ones that are going to keep you on the show. And they're ultimately the ladies that you have to pick from to find your connection.
Pretty sassy, don't you think, JR?
Pretty retaliatory. I won't say sassy, I'll say pretty retaliatory. If you do something to me, then I'm going to do something straight
now
back.
Now we're going to make up a word to avoid a word.
Retaliatory. Petty is maybe a better word. But this is where clarifying questions will come in, right? Like, I would be like, I know I'm not sleeping on no floor. So, and I know who I was talking to, be like, nah, that was just, I was at a property, blah, blah, blah. It shouldn't even make you that mad, honestly. Like, if you know exactly what the conversation was, it shouldn't even be that. But also the way she communicated was kind of like, something about you sleeping on the floor. Like, it was just not all the details either. So I'm like, what? But I don't know. I feel like he should have got that mad if it wasn't that serious. Like, if somebody said, I heard you sleeping on the floor, I'm going to laugh. I'm going to be like, okay, that's funny. All right. Y'all hilarious. But when it can hit a nerve sometimes. People get a little more sensitive.
I don't feel like Patricia seemed very, I mean, I could be wrong about her because we don't know her, right? But she seems very even-keeled. She just doesn't seem like she's in the mess. So I just feel like if he said something about he was sleeping on the floor, he said something that gave broke. I'm not saying he is broke. I'm saying he said something that gave broke. Either like, man, girl, I don't want to go to a hotel tonight. I'm going to save some bread and sleep on the floor. Like, if a man told me that on the phone, I'm assuming that's how it went. I'll be like, bro, you're sleeping on the floor? Go to a hotel. Or why are you telling me that? Like, I don't know. I'm assuming that's how it went. He should have probably just kept that story.
That,
huh?
Looking at how he comes across, he probably was telling her that to hopefully to hope that she would offer her bed.
Exactly.
You know?
Or go pick him up.
Exactly.
Or go pick him up. And it backfired because not only did that not happen, and she didn't send no money for no hotel, he came off looking homeless and like a squatter, like Nancy said. That was not the way it was supposed to go down. That's how it looked.
Because she said she
Looking
started
like
out
a hobo.
She started that he had an apartment, or he was in his apartment. He left his apartment, so you know he has a place to stay. That's how the conversation. Like, you know he has a place to stay. So wherever he's going is only temporarily. So it's not like he's broke 100 days out of. He's not totally broke. It's just okay. In this situation, he did something that somebody with no money did, or he was joking. So it's not like he doesn't have any bread. So I mean, I don't know why it got real deep real quick. He probably took it personal. I don't know where he came from or where he grew up. But if I know I ain't broken, I worked hard to make some money, and this is what I'm trying to get out of the lifestyle I'm trying to get out of. I don't want nobody to take me back there because I worked too hard to get away from that, to change the narrative in my life. And he frustrated. And then again, like you says too, because of who the source that it came from, that's probably why he's mad. Like, y'all probably only talked to her for a minute. And I said that in a joking way, but why is here? So it's a lot. And then you got to take the fact that he's there for almost to be eliminated too. And this may be one of the reasons why I'm eliminated, because I say I'm sleeping on the floor. All that emotion, all that stress came up in. And then, not as a dude, he really is petty. So I'm going to war. Yo, man, these are women. Calm yourself down. Because in this show, you can't go to war by yourself. Right? You can't go to war by yourself on this show. Because if you go to war by yourself, you got to bring people with you. Because you just be a man out there, and you're the next one to go home for real. So be careful how you go to war.
But this also explains his rant on social media the other day. Like, he had a whole thing where he's like, he's in high rises and I got money and I'm like, I don't need no little money from the show. And he went into a whole thing. Now seeing the episode, that makes sense because it was like a couple days before. It was like, oh, okay. He wants to make sure that before this episode come out, y'all know I ain't tripping off of this show. I don't know why people promoting this show anyways. It's not enough money for me to be promoting. Like, it was a whole thing. So like, he was trying to preempt this, I think, too, to make sure everybody knew he got money.
I'm sorry. It's giving insecurity, though. It's giving insecurity to me because with all that you said, Glenn, there's no way I'm going to blow up. If I've worked hard, I got my stuff together, and a person that don't know me from Adam say whatever or got confused or mistaken on what I said, I'm not about to blow up. If it was a joke, I'm going to laugh it off and was like, I was telling a joke. You blow up when there's truth to it. You blow up when your spot is blew up. Like, why do you have so much venom? Why are we going to war over something that's not true? Run with your narrative, sis. I don't want you. You just showed me how I don't want you. You know what I'm saying? Like, if that's what you got out of the scenario, if all else is true, that I'm just staying the night over here because I don't want to drive all the way to my house. I got an early showing tomorrow. Or I'm staying here because I'm cleaning up the place because of the showing tomorrow. If all of this is true, I'm not going to war with you and your beliefs because it ain't going to change your mind on me. And I do understand once we get on the show, the narrative could be out there and be broke. Well, hell, all y'all can believe I'm broke. Why I got a flash for y'all anyway? Only insecure people want to flash for people. They only want validation from other people. And so if I have to sit here and argue with all of y'all, go on these rants and keep telling y'all how this show ain't making enough money, I got this, that, and the third, all this stuff like that, I need validation for y'all, for my existence. That's crazy to me.
Immaturity. I think that's some immaturity too, though. There's a lot of immaturity that goes with that. And because again, you want people to know that you think you want people to know that you have. So again, it comes to immaturity. I agree with you, Jay. That there's something else that's there, for him to be so angry as he was. And maybe just he don't like the other women. I don't know. Maybe it's something personal. Well, I mean, I guess we'll see how it plays out.
I mean, I would say, you know what? I think he's I'm gonna go to war comment was probably a bit too much, right? I think that was a bit too much for me personally. But I just wanna put this in perspective, ladies. If you want to show, and I told the fellas that you don't wash your pants. You wash them every 3 days. You're gonna tell me that you ain't gonna address that. You're gonna tell me that you're gonna be like, it's him anyway, so I don't really care. No. Once I tell them, the boys, you know what? Seaway don't wash pant. Aries don't wash pant. Jay don't wash pant. She turned it inside out. Yeah, it's a bloody lie. Yeah, it's not true at all. But you don't wash pant. Now the guys know you don't wash pant. Whether it's true or not, they're now gonna be wondering, do you wash pant?
My response to that would have been, I don't even wear pants to watch. So there you go. I'm not about to go to war with you. You can go tell these guys all you want. You can tell them what you want, but see, baby girl know how to go ahead and counteract that without having to go to war with people. I'm not about to get all irate.
I agree that part.
You want to tell some stories and stuff like that. It's like, if that's what you want to believe. But show me my panties.
But I'm saying though, once that narrative is out there and it's put out against you, right? Unfortunately, what actually happens is you're going to be fighting that narrative. Whether you make it funny or not makes no difference. You're now fighting a narrative. And the reason why I chose washing pant is because, again, it's something that's personal. It's something that, again, for men and women, it's slightly different. I didn't use money because if I said you're a broke person, ain't nobody fighting that as a woman. It doesn't affect you in that way. You have to affect the person through what affects them as their value. As a woman, you are affected by your beauty. So if I said your cooch this or smells or something like that's gonna affect you. You are not going to be like, well, it doesn't really matter. No, when all the fellas are now making jokes as they go past you or say, you're gonna be warring. You're gonna be warring a little bit.
If they smell something, then that's my fault, because obviously he was right. Okay, but if you walk past me and you ain't smell nothing, then you listen to Boo Boo the Fool. That's on you, Boo Boo, and that means you just not for me. If anybody else can influence you about me outside of me, then carry on.
I'll be like, he's saying because he don't want you to smell. He don't want you to find out.
Right. Ask him what he was doing down there. Why it got a smell now? Because it didn't have a smell before he came. Like,
he just don't want you to know.
Well, you know what, Coach? I think this is actually a good point you're making. I think this is actually similar to the combative narrative, actually, from last season too. When you put that type of label on a woman that she's combative, that's kind of the same reason why a woman pushes back against that as well, because we don't want that narrative on us, because now you're saying we're not fit, feminine, submissive, whatever, friendly, whatever it is, right? So I think you're washing pants, right? It's similar to the combative narrative, which I understand defending. It's just like, I would have defended it more like last season, Jessica asking, what did I do to be combative, and ask for a real answer, versus him. He seems to, one, not even be interested in the fact that people insinuate that he was perverted, or that people said that they said. He don't even care about that. It's just the fact that he's sleeping on a cot, and how I would have handled it. I'm not saying I wouldn't have been offended. I would have just been like, hey, they took X, Y, and Z situation, like Jay was saying, and completely ran the wrong way. And it's actually a joke that they're running with it like that. But I know I have this and that, and they're running with some as childish as that, based on the fact that I said X, Y, and Z. Period. At least he was actually given why he was broke, because he was sleeping on a cot, instead of just saying, you're this, you're that, you're that. So, I mean, at least he got the source of the information. It's because he said he was sleeping on a cot at a house. At least he can fix that. So that's kind of, but I do understand what you're saying, because a woman smelling is similar to like a man being broke. It's not a good thing, but so is calling a woman combative.
I think the difference is, though, like if we take Koshia, for example, like we can see that she's got a temper, right? A hothead. She's at least quick to go off, right? That's the least you can say about it. It's not someone that's actually experienced that, like by themselves, and then come back and influence the rest of the group. Like, she's erupted on some of the guys and in the ladies' lounge, so everyone's seen it. We've seen it. Whereas with Will, it was one person's conversation that got fed back and has created a narrative. It's not like he's turned up disheveled with holes in his pants and he's giving vagrant vibes, you know, or homeless vibes. You know, he seemed like a clean shaven, smart dude. But this one person's experience on that phone conversation has now gone and put him in the bottom. So that's why I think he's pissed. Whereas the combative narrative, every season, we do see personalities that clash. And when they clash, there isn't, like, all the tact goes out the window. It's all about, I'm going to set you straight. I'm going to put hands on you. Don't mess with me. This, that, the other. Don't you know what I'll do to you? So we're seeing these people do it rather than one person just going back and saying, oh, well, you know what? She's combative. Admittedly, we did see that with, what's his face? Aries' friend. Construction worker dude. So,
wait, who my
Chris.
friend? Hold on, don't put me up in this.
Is it Chris?
JR, that's why I gave that example. That was the exact same example. You took a situation that y'all had, brought it back to the group.
But the honest truth is that she was. That's why nobody else said anything. She was combative.
Exactly.
In real life. So that's why it was really something that the audience didn't see. But in real life, nobody else said anything against it because we agreed.
Yeah, I saw it.
But that's the same. It's almost the same thing as him being broke and him being perverted. People may have seen it, but the conversation came from one. It came from one person. That's why I'm giving the example. Whether other people can co-sign it, you're still bringing that information back, and that's why he's offended. Because this is a more of a whatever. I know what I'm trying to say, but
the money piece is more of a trigger than the. I think Seaway said something earlier. The money piece is more of the trigger than the perverted piece. He doesn't mind. He doesn't mind that label of the pervert of being perverted because he's making the comments. That money piece to people is a very big thing when you living your life off of status. When you living your life at a certain level and you want people to look at you at another level, you don't want people to call you broke because that is a negative connotation within your life. And I don't know where he came from, right? Somebody said South Florida. I don't know. I guess, so when you dealing with that trauma, and again, you don't want to do it. Doesn't make it right, but that's a trigger for somebody. And some people don't like that broke trigger. And some people can't handle that broke trigger. Especially when they especially in their mind, when they progress to a certain level and when they think they're doing big stuff and they think they're at the top of their game or moving up to the top of the game, and you say you're not where you think you are, that triggers somebody tremendously and it make people go off. Especially when you put yourself in a top level. And I don't know Will, but I'm just seeing where he puts himself at and the way he moved on the show for these hours that I've watched, it seemed like he putting himself, hey, this is the status I'm at. This is where I want to be at. And according to him, this is where God put me at. How do you care? And why do you care? Why did you say I went down to here? Right. So I like to get more, like most people, I like to get more context on the conversation they were having before he said, oh, I'm gonna go sleep on the floor. We just got a little bit and piece of it. And again, that's editing, whatever case may be. But I like to see the whole context. And maybe we can get a story behind what he said later.
That's like saying though, you can take the woman out the hood, but you can't take the hood out the woman or whatever, you know what I'm saying? You still got a broke mentality at the end of the day. Because if you're sitting here having to be all irate and hostile because somebody called you broke, in your mind, you still have a broke mentality. Obviously you haven't reached your goals. And I'm not saying that you're supposed to have a goal. You've hit that platform or whatever and stuff like that. You should keep climbing for sure. But you also should be happy with the progress that you made in your climb. And you're not happy at where you're at. So when somebody says something to you, it easily takes you down and makes you feel some type of way about yourself because you have not looked at yourself, evaluated yourself and said, you know what, I've gotten here and I've done good. Now, let me take a break and get ready to regroup to go to the next level. you're still trying, and this is what I keep saying, and I know some people said in the comment, everybody wants validation. Yes, we need validation. It helps us go by. We like the other people look at us and see us and see our worth. We do like that. However, I need to see my worth, because then I don't have all of these arguments. I'm not ready to go to war with every comment. That's why I said that, what I said. It's not about validating if my draws stink or not. It's about knowing myself, knowing that, hey, my pH could be off today. It is what it is. You might have caught me on that day or whatever, but I know I clean my underwear. I know this and that. So I don't have to argue with you. It's not about how or fighting every battle. It's how I address them. You know what I'm saying? And that was my whole point on your comment, Kojo. It's not about the fact that I'm trying to invalidate how he actually feels about it, but it's about how you address it when you move forward. If I'm secure in minds, I don't have to go to war with you. I can come to you and say, "Hi, listen, why would you say that? Why would you tell these guys that I don't do what I know I do? You don't live with me. You don't know what days I do wash, this stuff, that." Victoria's Secret know me by face. Like, I'm in there. So it's a way to do it or whatever. And I don't have to go to war. I don't have to be sitting on 10 and I can't focus on the person in front of me no more because I'm just so mad that they hit my little trigger button about me being insecure about my money or my finances or my personal health. I know me enough. That person don't.
True.
Also, remember, he's like 30 years old. He's 30, 31. He probably hasn't reached that level of emotional maturity yet. I know if you caught me at 30, I probably would have been arguing like Coach Shea in the lounge. You know what I'm saying? But 40-something-year-old me has had the experience to grow from it and be able to say, okay, how can I address this in a mature way? He's 31 years old. He's like, I'm ready to go toe to toe with whoever, and don't come for me like that. That he could easily just take it and say, let me go get clarification on exactly what went down and let's, address the situation. But I think that we're catching him at a point in his life where he's not there. How many times have you seen guys? I'm very turned off when I go to a guy's Instagram and all they do is show their money or their cars and they posing in front of cars. I'd be like, you're looking for validation, buddy. I'm done. I don't want that. Like, I don't want someone with that mindset. So there's a lot of people who, are trying to impress broke people. So you call them broke, that's going to be like, hold on, you're reversing my narrative, and that's kind of what it implied, at least. So it is what it is. I think when it comes to just where he's at emotionally with this particular topic, whether it's, I don't even know if it's a scarcity mindset. It's just a matter of ego and don't be calling me, making it seem like I'm broke. And we on national TV now. This ain't just some private conversation. There's a bunch of people watching this, and we already know from last season when the narrative goes out there that you may potentially be broke, that's about to spiral out of control. And still trying to live that down. Some people are still trying to live that narrative down when it comes that way. So I mean, I feel him on the not wanting the narrative, but it's again how you handle it. Like you said, Jay, it's how he handles it. But I just don't think that he's emotionally in that place where he can handle it appropriately. We saw he blacked out. He basically blacked out after that. He was gone. He left that day. She was trying to toast him and be like, I'm here. He's like, girl, I'm over here plotting like Pinky in the Brain. I'm about to blow this whole thing up. Like, forget everybody at this point. So I pray that he doesn't do that, but I don't know what's gonna happen next week.
Yeah, I mean, listen, look, I think with the situation, Will, I think first of all, going, like I said before, going to war just kind of indicates that there's probably some deeper wounds there. It's not about the money, it's not about the finances, it's not about that. There are deeper wounds in how, when people offend him, how he goes to bat, and I think that's where there's maybe a conversation for Will that he will have to look into. Because that's not about the money. That's not even necessarily about the trigger. It's about how you handle those triggers, right? Aside that, though, like I said, I think, you know, I understand why he was so angry, you know, at that point in time, because I know we're talking about if it's not true, yeah, but you don't get the opportunity yet. You have to address certain things, right? Because remember, you're now in a new group. You're now in a new social setting, and not only are you in a new social setting, you're also in a public social setting, which is going to go national. So once, and this is a female dominated show. Once the idea that you are broke is circulating, it is very difficult to get away from that narrative, because maybe they won't believe you're broke, but they're gonna making jokes about how broke you are. So it don't make no difference. You can't get away from that narrative. So I can get why he might have been frustrated. But what I would say is that I think it showed there were deeper wounds by the way that he went to, I'm going to go to war. That told me something different. That was telling me, okay, that's not about the money. That's not you about sleeping on the floor. That's about when you're offended, how you react when people offend you. I don't think he had anything, there was nothing wrong with him being angry. If you know, but it's the fact that he said he's now going to go. Yes, you just said it. Thank you, Aries. He's now going to go into attack mode, and I think that told me more about, hey, bro, the way you handle situations when you're hurt could actually cause more carnage and actually does more damage probably than good, because you're now plotting how to get someone back. You know, that tells me that there's some hurt and some pain there behind it. But like what I said about Koshia, the way she reacted about I'm gonna slap someone in the mouth told me that there's some real deep hurt behind that, because you go from 0 to 1,000 and you want to slap someone in the face, irrespective of what happened, tells me there's some deeper wounds aside this actual issue that needs to be actually addressed. And I think Will needs to take some time to go and address that. And I just say that because as men, there's a double standard, right? Like I said this yesterday, there's double standard only because when you say I'm gonna go to war, it never looks pretty when you say you're gonna go to war with women. And number two, also, I always talk about the fact that we are different because of our physical differences in terms of strength. So when you get angry and you say you're gonna go to war, we gonna look at you a little bit some way. I'm not saying he's gonna do anything, but that is on people's mind when you say you're going to go to war. So you have to be very careful and measured. This is why as a man you have a double standard, because as much as you get put into a position of leadership, you also have a responsibility to understand that I'm going to shop differently than a woman when I begin to say certain things. That is where I would say that I would just highlight for Will in that aspect. I got no problem with him being angry, no problem with him being frustrated. I think you just got to measure your tongue and be very, very careful. And I think the words that he chose was an indication of how deeply wounded he was. And there's some past things that he needs to actually heal from. That's got nothing to do with sleeping on the floor, right? I'm not saying that you don't and get angry. I'm not saying you don't address. I'm saying there are deeper wounds that he probably needs to address, because saying to he as you said it, he actually couldn't focus. Like it was like somebody said, you know, it's like somebody took. I don't want to say take it, but anyway, he took it to such heart, yeah, that the brother was stewing right there that he couldn't hear anything. Like Alexis was trying to say, like, you know what? Alexis looking at him and like she's like, damn. Old boy's in another region. He's in the shallow realms. That I can't reach him. He's so hot. The drink in his hand was also bubbling. It's like he's that stewing at that point in time. And maybe he went away and calmed down. Who knows? But the drink in it, yeah, he could have broke that glass. I'm telling you, it was that kind of heat that he was feeling in that moment that he couldn't hear anything else. So I would just say that to him, just to kind of like, look at it again and just be very careful, bro. Like, you wanting to go to war with women after might just be a deeper thing for you. That's all. But other than that, you're allowed to be angry, you're allowed to be hurt, and you're allowed to feel some type of way, and you're allowed to address those lies if you feel they're there. Do you know what I mean? So definitely look at that as well. All right, let's move on, because obviously, like we've spoken quite a bit like that. Let's discuss obviously. Another situation. We had the date between Mika, Jonathan, LaRon, and Maya. And I felt like Mika was coming at Jonathan a little bit, and I wasn't really sure what was going on with Mika, why she was so, I guess, inquisitive would be the wrong word, why she was so intent on playing Inspector Gadget. I don't know what's going on. It was just, old girl was in there. I don't know. And then obviously also with LaRon and Maya, I didn't see the chemistry. I'm sorry. I actually messaged LaRon. I said, LaRon, I didn't see it. I can't lie to you. I You had more love for the catfish than you did for Maya. Like, I mean, listen, I didn't. So I was not on that situation. So I want to get you guys first. Let me go first for the Laron and Maya situation. I know we spoke about this yesterday, but Laron and Maya situation. I want to get your thoughts on that situation. How did you see that situation? Let me get to those who went on with us yesterday. JR, talk to me. What did you think about LeRon and Maya's situation? What did you pick up?
I'm not picking up a strong connection. I think LeRon is going to find it. I think he seems like he's likable, but I think he's going to find it difficult because this is a new situation from what he's expressed about trying to find someone to be with, right? On a long-term relationship type thing. He's so used to being out in the clubs, probably fleeting relationships and stuff, if they even get that far. So he comes across a little nervous to me. But I didn't detect any instant chemistry, to be honest. So there's not much to see here yet, in my opinion. And you're right about the catfish. From what I heard, they had long day of filming and it was the only chance they had to eat. So when that was served, then he started tucking in. And he probably expected her to eat too, but she didn't. So he came off looking worse.
Thank you, JR. Glenn, what's your thoughts on this, man? What did you see from the LeRon and Maya situation?
Well, he already said going into it, based off what we saw on the show, that the only person for him was Koshia. So he went into it with that mindset, saying, "Hey, the only person for me is Koshia." So when he saw Maya eating whatever, that's when he walked over there. I mean, he's made it look like he was hungry again. But she was saying the things that he wanted to hear, and he was like, "Okay, I'm gonna eat that up. Yeah, we could be a power couple." It was just like he was just amusing her or keeping her around just because the conversation was good. I think he was playing a game more so than he was trying to get with Maya. But she must think it's true because again, when they got into the ladies' lounge, she says LeBron's my guy. So if he's playing her, then they playing. He fooled her. But there was no real chemistry that was there. I think she thinks chemistry there, but there's no chemistry there. He only has his eyes on one person, and that's Koshia. And I think that's where he's at, and I think that's where he's going to be until he either get voted off or him and Koshia make it to the end, whatever the case may be. But there was no chemistry between him and Maya. It looked nice for TV, but it wasn't real.
Thank you very much. Jay, why you smiling like that for?
Because I'm just listening to Glenn and he talking about LeBron is not interested in her, but Maya interested in him. I reverse that. Reverse uno. Like, say what now? My girl pulled him in. My guy went all the way over and leaned into her, and she was kind of like, "Oh, back on up." Not once did she give him eye contact until he sat down, and then she still didn't really give him eye contact. She looked in his direction, but she didn't give him no eye contact. At the end of the whole conversation, my guy was talking about, "Yeah, I want to marry you. Do you want to marry me?" She was like, So it was more so the other way around that she drew him in, and he thought he had his in because she was being polite and cordial and allowing him to talk, and they had their conversation going. But there, like you said, we all can agree, there's no chemistry there. I don't think she's totally fancying him. He clearly was not hearing what she was saying. She said that she's not big on looks right away. She wants to hear a man's thoughts, get to know him, see what he got going on working in his brain and stuff. And LeRon is still trying to figure out if he want to be out in the streets or not. But he thinks that Maya might be the one to be able to pull him out the streets. It is what it is. I don't know. But she gonna do what she got to do to get her votes, and she definitely got his vote.
So why in the lounge does she go ahead and just say, you know what, hey, LeBron's my man, even though if it's whack, it's no.
Yeah, the same thing with William.
You got to give 3 names, so that was one of the three that she had in her top because those are the dates that she had. So
Right.
it's
And that there was an
everybody.
alarm. And I said there was an alarm when she did say when she started off in the lounge, he still does party Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, and Saturday. And she's like, well, I don't know if I can fix that. And that was an alarm to me. But I was like, well, maybe she's just saying that. But I got you now, Jay. I feel you. I feel you. I got it. I'll peep you.
Look at that beautiful turnaround. Yeah, Seaway, what are you telling me?
Well, I took notes. I did note that Maya did mention LaRon in the ladies' lounge, but I assume he was one of her three names, so I didn't pay too much attention to that, like Gary said. Um, I think Maya needs to stay on the show to sell her waist trainers and her business, and hopefully she finds love. But either way, I think she's gonna stay on there for her benefit. She's already using the show for promo, so shout out to Maya. She's making the show work for her. I love a lady with a plan, so shout out to Maya. I do not think that she's super into LaRon in real life. LaRon's not pulling Maya in any way, shape, or form. It's just not occurring. But what I will say is that I don't think, like y'all mentioned, that Maya likes the fact that LaRon likes to drink this much. Every time I look up, he's asking for a shot. On this date, he's asking for another shot. He seemed like he likes to drink. I don't know if it's too much, but it seems like he loves to drink and he loves to party. I don't know. I don't think Maya would be interested in that. And then he seems to be maybe a 50-50 warrior, or at least a 50-50 contributing warrior. When you start saying, I'm going to put my 50 with your 50 and we make it 100, I don't believe that's the type of person Maya wants. I think Maya wants a person who, you have your money and you help me out, and I'm going to make all my business, and my business is my business. That's how I feel. So LaRon being a 50-50 warrior, Maya's not taking him serious on that alone. On top of the fact that he looked like he'd be drinking every day but Monday and Tuesday. I don't see it.
How the
I
hell
don't
are you
see
here
it at all.
50-50? He said partnership. He said, bring yours, I bring mine. And that's how we work together. What's this? What's this? Now it's 50-50 where we know that's a
I don't want
negative
to ever
trope.
hear that. I don't ever
He
want to
said,
hear
let's
that.
bring yours, I bring mine. I make good money, you make good money. Let's bring it together. What's wrong with that?
All right,
I don't
yeah,
Bring
ever
your
want to hear
100, I bring my 100.
You
Now
know
we
what
got
I
200.
mean? We need to dead this as 50-50. He said, I'm bring mine, I'm gonna bring yours.
that's what I
What,
heard
what?
too. He said, "I'm gonna bring mine. I'm gonna bring yours." That's what I heard.
that. And what are we bringing it to? To one?
So what? What? Your money's just gonna be sitting there?
That's 50-50 though, Kojo. That's what I'm
No, no,
saying.
no. That's not.
No,
That's you.
no,
That's you not
no.
using your
Or is that
finances
100,
well.
100?
We are in a partnership
Partnership.
together. Where is your money going? That is a question. I'm sorry. I'm just
No,
not
the
rich like
question,
that.
no,
That
no,
I can
no.
sit on. I'm not rich like that. You can just sit on your
You're changing
finances
the
and just let
question.
it
You're
sit
changing
there.
that's 50-50, Kojo.
No, no,
What
no. I
math
didn't
are
say
you
that.
doing?
No, no, no. I didn't say that. I said, where is your money going?
That's a different question, sir. I'm talking about the 50-50. Where my money going is a different
I
question.
said, bring it to the table because we in this together. That's the whole point. We in this
Sure. But if
together.
we're in this together, that sounds like a 50-50 warrior, does it not?
No, not at all. It's not. It's you. It's we're in this together. Saying, hey, I'm bringing my thing. I'm bringing your thing. We never spoke anything about bills, anything like that. We just said, bring your money to the table. See, when your mind went straight to 50-50, it's like, wait, hold on a minute. If I'm coming to the table and I have a certain amount of money, I'm saying, you bring your money to the table too. That's all. And we work out how we work out. Now, maybe I have a different mindset to when it comes to relationships. Okay, do you know what I'm saying to you? I mean, I'm a man, of course, so it's going to be slightly different looking at it for perspective, right? But I'm saying that at a point in time, I'm saying that what he said was a partnership. That is what you wanted to do in marriage. Some people come into a marriage to have partnership. So I don't think it's necessarily 50-50 per se, but then again, it depends what we mean by 50-50 and what we mean by
Right.
partnership in that sense.
When I think of partnership, I think of like I help you grow, you help me grow. I'm going to support you, you support me. You lean on me, I lean on you. I'm good at math, you're good at science. I'm good at sweeping, you're good at mopping. Like that's what I think of a partnership. I drive, you I don't know. I'm just thinking that's a partnership. I'm not sure what my money has to do with that. And he mentioned money, if I unless I'm wrong. I remember him mentioning money. And that's where I got the 50-50 warrior.
He
part.
said, "You got money, I got money."
Exactly.
That's what he
But
said.
And to me, that sounds like a man who's going to ask for a financial disclosure if we get divorced. Like, I just don't want that type of individual.
he only mentioned money after she said she wanted a provider. She said she wanted
Well,
somebody
that makes
to
it
take.
worse, though.
That's
That makes
like
it worse.
opposite.
Yeah, but I took it as being like, okay, that's a little bit editing. When he did say, he said we bring ours together, and then bringing ours together is like I make 120,000, you make 120,000. Now we as together as husband and wife make 240 grand, and now we're gonna figure out how we're gonna spend this 240 grand before we both come up together. That's what I looked at as a partnership, because when you take it in the business world, when two companies merge, they don't, that other company that's merged, they don't leave their finances out there. Both finances come together of the company or the corporation. So if you look at marriage that way, then shouldn't it come together? If he said partnership, or does that make it a 50-50 thing too? If they both agree, hey, let's pull this together in one pot and we work off of this.
I mean, in real life, right? Like real married people are putting their money together to buy houses and to manage real expenses, right? Like I'm not saying that people in real life in 2024 where you need two incomes aren't doing that. I think what's off-putting is like you think that's a courting conversation. I put my money together and you put your money together and we got money.
Not
That to
according.
me is not a courting conversation.
Not,
That
I
sounds
think
like a warrior.
I think Aries said this is about 2 weeks, right, Aries? That's not a 2 week conversation where we talking about bringing that. No, that's not a 2 week conversation. That's a conversation at the end of the show, and we think we real serious, and we may be moving towards that, but not after 2 weeks. No.
However, this it is though, because we have to understand what your mindset is. It is accelerated, right? So knowing what your philosophy is on life is important, in this. I mean, the reality, kind of like what Seaway said, most real life married couples are pulling their money together in whichever way they're making it. I feel like Maya has had multiple conversations with different men on the show to where indicating that, I want to be, I want a provider, I want to be passenger princess, type of thing. So I think some of this is more of what do we think Maya would really want in this scenario? Is she saying what needs to be said to LaRon because this is what they're saying, and then over here saying something different to this guy, saying something different? So in real life, what do we really think? Do we think that she's like, yeah, she said Michelle, Obama, and Barack or whatever? That's a whole nother thing. Like I could see us being a power couple. So I don't know. Maybe she's down with it. I don't know. It just seemed like the way he said it, it just felt like it felt to me 50-50-ish. It felt like a creative way of saying it. But maybe he meant it differently. I don't know.
Well, maybe this is the one time I'm gonna listen to Alonzo's advice and say, if we had asked a little bit more questions, we might have known what he meant by it. And not saying that the question wasn't asked; it could be edited out, and what he meant by the partnership. But that would be a good question to ask if you come across somebody saying this. What do you mean by partnership? Is this, we talking about finances? Are we talking about, company? What are we doing? So just ask more questions.
And this conversation is always intriguing. I think we had this last time, and I said this conversation is funny because most of the time what we're really talking about is how it looks. It's image, right? Because when we really break it down and explain it, what people are saying is, I want him to pay the mortgage, I want to pay this, I want to pay that. After that, you're still paying for stuff. So you're still in a partnership. That's the whole point. Like, you're still paying for stuff, but you want it to be the major things. It's the mortgage, it's the car note or whatever. The things that look on paper like this. But really and truly, you are contributing. So that's why I said that the conversation always becomes like it's 50-50. But really and truly, you are contributing towards the unit as a whole. So, of course, some people have it differently. Some people, yes, by the grace of hallelujah God, you've got it blessed. You've got yourself 100% provider who pays for every single thing. Your nails, your hair, your daily lifestyle, and pays for everything else. And God bless that person. God bless that person. May he continue to treat you right and pay all your goddamn bills. For the rest of us who live in the normal stratosphere who don't have the financial income to do so, let us work together, okay? All right, this conversation is for those who have that financial income. The rest of you are normal folks with normal incomes and normal tax brackets, and you need to do the normal tax bracket thing, okay? Work with the people at your level, okay? This conversation always goes far, and most of us ain't got that far. We are living in a normal tax bracket, apart from people who are at the Waldorf. But the rest of us, we gotta make sure we are at a normal level. So,
Well,
but I
like
definitely hear what you're
Antonio
saying.
says, bringing
I don't, I
Beyonce into the conversation. I just want to know, is Beyonce and Jay-Z going 50-50? No.
JT gonna put on another JT and Beyonce. None of us are that level. That's the whole point.
Well, we found out Gabrielle Union and Dwayne Wade was going 50-50. So
And look what
that's all.
happened. They immediately cussed her out.
That's
Good on that
ridiculous.
lass.
yeah, I mean, Coach, we could be here all night. I don't really feel like this is about image.
I think you should be here all night.
I sincerely do not want a man of mine's factoring in my money. So if that means that you need to be considering that we're living in a lesser place before you ask me, do you want to contribute your money so we can live in a better place? That's a different conversation. I just don't want you from the onset, you literally factoring in my money. So I don't really feel like that's image. That's just, but I'm not saying, ladies, I'm not saying you got to do what I'm saying. If y'all want to do 50-50, don't argue with me. Don't argue with Miss Sprinkle. Go do what you want to do. I'm just saying that won't be me. I personally am not talking to a dude who's factoring in my money. I never have. I think that's weird. So, but do y'all. Whatever works. Don't be single on my account.
But you're privileged. You earn a good amount of money and you are educated to a certain level. You are very privileged. You're actually not in a, like when we talk about this situation, we talk about you're doing the very thing that men do, which is they try to make women into the 1950 women. You're trying to make the 1950 man while still trying to have the modern man at the same time, modern woman situation. This is what people do, cherry picking on both sides. And so both people do it, right? Both men and women do it. And that's usually where the issue usually comes in, when people are cherry picking. You want the 1950 man, but you want to be the modern woman. And then he wants the 1950 woman and wants to be the modern man. It's like there has to be some level of balance. You know what I'm saying to you? Without there being shame. Because immediately what happens is, it's like, I don't want him fostering my money. He's a 50-50 nigga. Oh, then he's been shamed. Once you say that, he's been shamed. Once we take that level, he's been shamed. Once you start saying he's a 50-50 because it comes with a negative connotation, he has been shamed. Yet what you're doing is you're cherry picking. And that's fine. Right? Because if you didn't work and you didn't have no money, you'd have chosen a person who's 40K because you ain't got nowhere else to go with it. You'd have had a normal person.
But Coach, I understand you. And first of all, when in Rome, you're normally cool, but I am far from elitist. You don't know me. I'm talking about my lifestyle, ma'am. Like I said, if you want to go 50-50, go 50-50. Don't be mad at me. Be mad at whatever you got going on. But what I will say is, me being privileged lifestyle, right? Educated, privileged, that's fine. But what I'm saying is this applies at every tax bracket that you are at. If you are in, let's say you're making 50K, you're interacting with dudes making 50K. You can take this mentality and go date a man making 50K and live in a place that you can live in off of one salary for 50K. If you're making 100K, you can find a man making 100K and live in a place worth 100K. Now, where this gets sticky, if you're living below the poverty line, if you're in that situation, do what you got to do to survive. But if we're talking about the average person who is subscribed to you, who most of these people I do not believe are living below the poverty line, and if you are, then this doesn't apply, right? This applies at every single stage. This is just about what you want to do in your life. If I was cut, if my husband was making 50K, I want him to ask, hey, babe, do you want to live somewhere where we can live off of my salary, or do you want to contribute so we can live a little bit better? That's what I'm saying. So all the people who said I'm elitist can kiss my butt and take the insecurity someplace else, because you're not hearing the words that are coming out of my mouth. And if you want to do going 50-50, do that. I don't care, because I'm not paying the bills. You think I care about what y'all do? I'm just saying I wouldn't do it.
I agree with you, C-Way. The reality is people are talking about, this is my philosophy on it. I have a home. I'm here. I'm paying bills every day, right? So if someone were to move into my house right now, I'm already paying the bills. I'm already taking care of everything. So the change isn't that big. So I feel like when I'm thinking about, this in a way of like how I could live with someone or join my life with someone, I'm like, are you already taking care of a home and bills? Then I'm not bringing a bunch of debt into the situation. It's just going to be a couple extra groceries, more than likely, for me to come up in there, right? The lights, I'm going to turn the lights off when I leave the room. You know what I'm saying? So it's not like a big difference. It's really about kind of back to what you said. What is the lifestyle that you want to live in? If I want to live in a big old giant mansion and we want to put all our money together, then we gonna have to keep working and we gonna have to keep putting that money together. If I'm like, I'm cool with where you live at right now, and I'm just gonna come, move on in, then it's not that big of a difference from what you're already doing. Why would I have to do a whole bunch more? And then you can figure out how y'all want to split the money if you're going to keep working and do if you want to do other things that contribute to retirement funds and vacations and all, whatever that looks like. But it's not as big of a deal, I think, that people make it. I think they're thinking, oh, I want to live in a mansion, but I also don't want to work. And I want him to just be able to do that, even though he's not living in a mansion right now. Like, now he got to go make me Beyonce or whatever, and I'm not gonna work. It just doesn't make sense logically. I think people aren't really thinking about it in the realistic sense of the fact that you're already paying the bills. If you already got a house and you're living within a certain range that I'm cool with, then hell, I'm coming over there. Like, maybe we rent my house out and we do something else with that money. You figure all that out. But I think that we make it a lot different when it's like, oh, you got money. I'm living in this little studio apartment and now you got money. Cool. When we put that together, that's how we're going to live in, the whatever. So that's the part I feel like makes it sound like 50-50 warrior. To me, feels like you need my money to move out of your mom's basement or, actually live a basic life. Like you need my money. I don't need you to need my money. I want to know that you're already taking care of yourself without me. That's the main thing for me.
And I think that's the part, because if I want to go live in a mansion down the street, I am very much so aware that if this is my dream home in this economy, I may need to put my money together so we can afford the mansion, right? That's fine. That's a decision. That's fine. I think the difference comes in is when you're dating somebody for 2 weeks and they're already coming off the gate with that assumption. Now, I'm sure to Kojo's point, there's some people who it's more for show than it is actually for practicality. I just prefer a man that I would want to be with not to come out the gate with that type of expectations versus like we're in a relationship and it's 2024 and this economy is horrible and we need to figure out what we need to do. I think you do what's best for your relationship, but you just want to make sure you're doing it with a man that doesn't already have those expectations. So yeah, we're off topic, I guess, at this point.
No, it's still part of the topic, like because it came up with Laron and it came up with Laron and Maya. It's a good conversation to have because I think, like I said, it's more about the fact that I think for me as a man, it's more about the way that sometimes this topic gets discussed. Now I know men also do it too in other ways as well, in terms of shaming women for their preferences, right? But the immediate conversation, the reason why I highlighted it was because immediately you went to 50-50 warrior. You actually were shaming them a little bit. You just a little bit. You hadn't heard the whole story and you were shaming him. And so that is why I was like, no. Hold on, let's just pause it a little bit because we're getting shamed here a little bit. And I say we as men, we're getting shamed here with him saying straight away, which is, hey, I want to bring my money together and bring yours together. I want a partnership. And it went straight to, it sounded like 50-50. And it's like, no, he said, I want to bring this, you bring yours. And of course, that is, for me, it's a partnership. He wasn't saying pay a bill or two like someone else said. Now that was wild. So that one, if you got onto that person, hey, he said he want to pay a bill or two, that don't sound good. But I think it was more a case of you bring this, I bring mine, and clearly I think they both make decent amount of money, or I hope anyway. Actually, I hope that so not assume. So it was maybe that's why I was saying more a case of the language sometimes around this thing, because as much as we may feel like everyone's got their preference, these conversations end up shaping people's preferences. They end up because we have so many of these conversations where people say what they say, and it shapes people's ideas. And the reality is, when we live in a real world, people are putting their money together. People in marriages are putting their money together. If some people don't want to do that, that's fine, right? And I think you made a beautiful illustration, Seaway, which is that, hey, look, if we're trying to live in a mansion, right, I put my money into it. Well, what's the difference between a mansion and someone having a 4-bedroom house? It's the level that they're at. You may have money for a mansion, which makes it okay for you to put the money towards. Well, someone might have money for a 4-bedroom house. That's what they got money for. They should put their money towards that. So I think it's more of a case of it's more about, for me, it's more about if you're at that level, fantastic. You gone clear, and we appreciate those men and women who have gone clear. They're at the top, and we want them to continue killing it. The rest of us who are in another bracket, okay, all right, the rest of us who are in another bracket where, in order to live your life effectively and to bring you into a life where you've already got a certain level, right? Because your level can't drop now because you're working. You see, and that's the thing. You're working and you have a degree and you got this and stuff, right? You have a certain level. So when I meet you, you're looking for either the same or to be, in fact, you're looking for a little bit of elevation. So clearly, if you're in a certain city and a certain place, you know that sometimes in order to get to that next level, there may be some partnership that may need to go on. It's unfortunate. It's not the beautiful fairy tale to go and explain to your friends that, you've got a man who pays every single thing for you. But the reality of life will hit everybody else when you are in that real situation. Some of you have gone clear, and we appreciate you. The rest of us in that same situation, all I'm saying is, please, let's not shame people that are trying to do partnership. You know what I mean? Let's not shame them.
Can I say something? I feel like you heard me, but then something got conflated. What I'm saying is, I'd rather you come to me and say, I never been to your house yet, but I'd rather you come to me like, hey, Seaway, I really care about you. Would you like to come stay with me here? Doesn't matter what I have right now. You know what I have right now. You said, this is what I can do right now. I can take care of all of this for you. That's what I'm saying to you. It's not about my level, any level. It's about the mentality that you're saying, this is what I can do, and this is what I will do for you, right? And then I can say, you know what? I love that, but if I give a little bit, we can do this. Is that cool? And you're like, okay, cool. I'm saying, I want you to come to me saying, hey, this is what I can provide for you. Instead of saying, hey, we put my money and your money and we got this. It's about the mindset. It's really not about the level. So that's the only part I'm not trying to complain. It really is, to me, about the mindset.
I guess my question on that: at what part do you start putting your money together? We ain't, and maybe I'm old school, whatever the case may be. If I ain't married to you, I don't trust you, right? I'm not putting that money together yet. And we're dating, I feel like we're doing something different. I'm not playing house when we're not even a house yet, right? So we're not putting all this. We're not putting all this together while we're dating, right? I think that's when we to the point where we're getting ready to walk down that aisle. We're doing this counseling, whatever you do, and that's when we start to discuss. Hey, let's see how we can work this thing together. Where do you want to live at? What kind of house do you want? Aries mentioned, am I keeping my house and renting it out, or are you selling your house, right? I mean, those type of things, those conversations come not when you've been dating for 3 weeks. Those conversations when you've been dating and you working your way down the aisle, and you guys really trust each other. You've been through the thick and thin. I think some people are putting the conversation real early. If I'm dating you, why am I paying your bill, right? I don't live in your house. I'm being honest. What were you doing before we started dating?
So that's my point, though. That's my point on both sides. That is actually my point. Right, I shouldn't be asking you for bills. You shouldn't be paying my bills at this stage, and nor should you be talking to me about, I got my money, you got your money, and we put it together. The whole thing is premature. The whole thing.
I totally agree with you on that. It's premature.
Anyone else want to add? Sorry, I know I kind of dominated this time. Yes. Anyone else want to add? Aries, JR, do you want to add? Yeah, JR's been awfully quiet, which is extremely interesting. No, JR? No additional notes?
Leave JRB, Kojo.
JR looking at me blinking. I'm like, are you there?
You keep track of these NBA games that are going left. I'm super blue tonight.
No, listen, I'm just taking in the conversation. Like, you just got to go with what fits what you're looking for, right? If if you want someone who, so I was watching NBA highlights, if you must know, but yeah,
That's what I know you, JR. I knew
like
what you
you
were doing.
got, but yeah, like you have to go with what suits you. If your preference is to have all of your bills paid and things like that, then you just gotta stick to your guns and aim for that. If you consider it settling, meaning the person that earns less than you is lower than you, then like you shrunk your maybe your dating pool a little bit, but stick to your guns. And conversely, if you're someone that doesn't earn, say, the 150K, 200K to fully support you and the person you're with, then sometimes there isn't much you can do with that. The career path that you're on may not result in you earning that type of income. And at that point, if you are with someone that genuinely wants to build with you, then you're going to have to build together. So I think, you just have to date who you're looking for. You can eliminate people with grace. It doesn't have to be, going at them. Can use some tact, but, go with what you want. And I do get the point that, there is a bit of a double standard. Like you want the traditional ideals, but we're in modern times. And, in one sense, in one breath, you're saying those traditional ideals are not cool or not fashionable right now for you, but you expect the man still to be in the traditional aspect. And no, there's more modern men now. It's growing because the economics has changed. So the traditional ideal of I'm gonna pay everything, you're gonna have to be earning a lot of money. And the guys that you're looking for with that tax bracket, do they have the time to come on to Ready to Love and be, contenders for the ladies on the show? Probably not. That's why we don't see so many of them. They're already married or, working, making that money. So, yeah, like both can be right at the same time, but you just got to go for what you're looking for and stick to your guns, and hopefully you find it.
Look at that. That's that healthy dialogue. Love it. You know what I mean? Different points, different views, and nobody's dead. Listen, let's move on to then Jonathan and Mika, because they obviously had a conversation as well. Mika really was Inspector Gadget. I mean, she turned Sherlock Holmes, and she was unraveling all the clues of Jonathan's life. Jonathan said he gonna tell her everything now and let her know. I mean, it is it is interesting that he did. I think he told Maya that he was married previously, but I don't think he told many of the other ladies, because I think it's the second time someone said that they didn't know he was married. So I wonder if he's like choosing who he tells as well in that situation. So we're going to talk about Jonathan, obviously, and Mika's situation. Just to shout out anybody here as well, we have 666 people in the room. God bless that number and God bless y'all. Okay, we ain't gonna stay there. But 666 people in the room. Please, if you haven't done so already, make sure you're liking, you're sharing, and you are subscribed to this channel. Okay, all right. If you're loving the content, you're here. All right, make sure you like, you share, and subscribe to the channel. We're here tonight talking about Ready to Love, and we're giving you guys a paneled conversation, okay, as well. But yes, let's have a conversation here. Mika, Jonathan, I want to get their viewpoint. What's going on there in this situation? How did you guys and ladies, how did you see it? JR looks JR and Aries are ready to go. Like it is family fortunes. JR, I don't know if I think you were first because you was in the corner of my eye, and then I'm gonna get Aries after. Talk to me, JR. What's your thoughts?
Yeah.
Our final answer said.
Right. So, man, quick fire round, bro. Listen, I think he actually explained it, right? He has told some ladies, and I think they played the game as a game as well, where he did actually speak about it. But he also said on this particular episode, he doesn't want to talk about it too much because he's trying to progress. He's trying to move past that situation, not dwell on it and keep talking about it, right? So he has let ladies know. It isn't like he's hidden it from all of them. He has actually said to some of them. It's just that Mika was one of the people that he didn't say it to. And considering, I think where she's coming from is she spent time talking to him, and she initially said, "So would you spin the block on your baby mama?" And at that time, he didn't correct it and say, "Well, she wasn't my baby mama. She's my ex-wife, actually." So he just answered the question and said, "Yeah, well, that did kind of happen initially." At that time, he could have said, "Yo, she wasn't my baby mama. That was my ex-wife." Right. So I think that would have gone some way to alleviate her fears. But again, just like we've been speaking about, now that she feels that he's hidden that from her, she's automatically got her radar up, thinking this man is a liar, this man's a cheat, this man's gonna he's shady, he's keeping things. She has to remember what stage of the process they're in. Yes, it's still like the first couple weeks of getting to know each other, or the first couple hours or whatever. So if you're expecting him to lead with what he went through previously, his marriage and this, that, the other, sometimes that might not work in his favor. And I think he's aware of that. So that's why he's mentioning it when he's asked about it specifically, but he isn't leading with it. And that's the difference.
Yes, I'll just kind of add on to what you're saying. I think it feels to her that he omitted it, but and he did to a certain degree where he didn't correct her, right? Like I was mentioning yesterday, like I've been divorced 11 years. I would not necessarily put money on my ex-husband saying correcting somebody necessarily. I don't know if he would or wouldn't. I don't know. I would because I don't like the connotation of the baby daddy, baby, mama thing. But I think that because everybody from the group that he came in on knew, everybody in that group knows because he mentioned it multiple times during the mixer and in the game and all that. So it's like, it wasn't like he was hiding it. It was just that when he sat down with April and Mika at that table, they were like, so he was like, "I'll be right back. I'm going to the bathroom." He didn't even want to. Why am I going to clarify anything to y'all? Y'all are already like coming for my head. So I felt like he just didn't want to really want to clarify it for her, to be honest, like just based on the energy or whatever. One thing though with Jonathan, I just have to add is that he is very, and I know Jonathan in real life, he is selective with how he will ask these women about their previous relationships and then get irritated when they ask him about his. So it's kind of like interesting there how he picks and chooses when he wants to talk about the past. But I think that in this specific situation with Mika, it was really just based on her energy towards him when she came at him about the baby mama thing. Like, so did you spend a lot on the baby mama? It's like, well, I'll just go along with that narrative because I really don't I don't even want to have to correct it. So I got that. I didn't feel like he was hiding it. Now, when he answered her, he said something like women judge men who are married. I was like, he should have just said the truth. Because I think he tried to say that in order to get out of actually saying the truth, which was, well, I didn't correct you because your energy was off. He just used a different excuse to say why he didn't. It's like, well, women judge men who are married. Half of the cast has been married, so it don't even matter. So anyways, that was my thoughts on it. I just think he just didn't want to correct her specifically. And I don't know why she's so picky about it. I feel like she was making a big deal out of it, and it really wasn't. Like, it really wasn't a big deal. Like, we don't know your backstory. You got 2 kids. We don't know if it's by the same dude. Is it 2 different dudes? Were you married? We don't know if Mika was married. I don't think she ever said she was married. So there's a lot there that we haven't even got to know you because you were just so worried about whether he was married or not. It reminds me of Make a Move when Ashley was mad that she didn't know that Don had been married before. And it was like, you been married before? And it's like, how much of a big deal really is it at this age? I don't know. I just feel like it was made bigger just to be a reason why you just don't like him. Like, you just don't like Jonathan. You don't need a reason to put him in your bottom. Like, just put him in the bottom. We don't have a connection. And that's it. Like, we just made up something to make it like it was something. And it really ain't. So
Yeah, I want to first apologize. She didn't say she was married. I had to go back and look. She said she's the only one not married. So I don't think she didn't say she was married. She said she's the only one not married in the first episode. I think she did make. I agree with you, Aries. I think she tried to make something out of it than what it really was. He negated the fact. Okay, I was not. I was married. But for her to say she was confused, then ask the question, right? Because y'all been talking on the phone. You've been having this conversation. It shouldn't have popped up when you're out on this date with Maya and LaRon. If you're talking on the telephone and y'all having these side conversations, off air conversation, and you're confused, get clarity, right? Get clarity off camera, so it's not an on camera moment, all right? Because if you again, a baby mom, I'm like, were you married? Because I keep hearing you talk about X, Y, Z. Hey, get a definitive answer. Then for her to keep going on about it, not let him speak, I thought that was kind of rude. You asked him a question. He's trying to give you an answer, but you're not letting him answer, and that's why he just was quiet at first. He's like, "You go ahead, you go ahead, go see what you got to say." So was he trying to hide it? Sure, he said he was trying to hide it. He just didn't want to again lead with that conversation. I've never been divorced. I don't know if I would lead with that conversation either, though. By the way, hi, my name is Glenn. I've been divorced for X amount of time, and I got 2 kids. Who leads with that? I mean, get to know me. Let's have a conversation. Let's talk about it. If it comes up in natural flow, then I'll share it with you in a natural conversation. If we think we're serious, I'll bring it up with you. Bring it up to you. Let's go. Did she? I don't know if she ever told him she had 2 kids. So, how does a conversation flow in that aspect of it? She just didn't like him. She don't like him. And again, you gotta have a reason not to like him, and the reason is that he's been married before. But who else on the show hasn't been married that she does like, right? Because wasn't Dominique married before? And that's like her guy.
I don't know if he's married, but he definitely wants kids, and she doesn't want kids.
Right, he wants kids, and she doesn't want kids. So you can't. Some of these other guys are been married before. So if she's basing all her relationships off of that, then she won't end up with too many people on the show. Because the two things that she has, she doesn't want any kids, and she doesn't want anybody who's been married. I guess they showed in the preview Justin fits that category, but he's probably the only guy.
I need them to stop poaching on Justin and leave Justin alone. I really need them to leave Justin alone. This may be an unpopular opinion. Y'all can call me elitist or whatever for this one. This one I actually earned. Mika, tomato, tomato, tomato. I really wanted to like her. I thought she was so cute. And this is an example of someone who is cute that gives you absolutely nothing but agitation and ghetto foolishness. Mika is actually the reason why she thought that Jonathan had a baby mama, because she's a baby mama and we're the main community, because a lot of us are baby mamas. We lead with this ghetto baby mama bullcrap. In no other community do they lead with, is that your baby moms? Oh, did you leave your baby moms? The assumption is ex-wife. When you have class and sense, your default assumption should be ex-wife. Then you let them correct you. You don't lead with that ghetto baby mama bullcrap that she led with. That's the reason why she thought that Jonathan's ex-wife was a baby mama. Now, should he have corrected her? Yes. Is he hiding something? Yes. Is he still probably messing with his ex-wife? Probably. Or is there a situation messy as hell? Probably. So this is not even about Jonathan, right? Jonathan got something to him. But Mika, she's just giving us nothing. She's giving us absolutely nothing. And leave this new man alone. You had your 2 kids by a man that you didn't marry. Yet you want to get with this man with no kids and mess up his opportunity to have kids because you don't want any kids because you gave your eggs to a dude that you didn't marry. I'm so tired of this. Leave the man who doesn't have kids alone. Her and Rashina, whatever her name is. If y'all don't want to get that man kids, leave him alone. Y'all had y'all time. Y'all used y'all eggs how you used them. Now that y'all can get on me about. I really don't care. You can say that sounds judgmental. It is. But that's just how I feel. Annoyed by it. Mika needs to give us something, or she needs to get off the show because she's really giving us nothing. And then after she leaves, Jonathan can leave. That's all I have to say.
Damn.
Well,
Tell them how you really feel.
oh wow. There's that.
Yeah, don't do your oh wow.
Oh wow. Yeah. Two parties wrong in this whole scenario. However, much like Ari say, if you're giving off certain energy, I might match your energy, or I might just walk away and ignore your energy altogether. If you're looking at the glass half empty, which I think Mika is when it comes to Jonathan, you're not trying to understand or get to know that man. What does it matter if he didn't tell you or did tell you? Why are you bothered by it? Because in the line of questionings that you had with April, you could have clarified it then. Were you married? Have you been married? You just wanted to know when was the last time he hooked up, and you assumed that it was a baby mama. So with assumption, you'd already know that you make an ass out of you before me. So that's what she did. So when Maya knows the information, but you don't know the information, maybe that should click in my head. What is it that I'm giving off why people don't feel confident enough or comfortable enough to share these things with me? What type of energy am I giving off? And on the flip side, Jonathan, yes, you could have corrected her in that moment. No, that wasn't my baby mama. It was my ex-wife. If that was the person that you was sleeping with, if that's the same person you was talking about. If she don't ask if you ever been married, you might not have to give that information. However, if it's the same person, correct it. I don't go with the baby mama thing. I don't like baby daddy. That's the father of my child. I'm the mother of his daughter. That's who it is. There's a respect there. So at the end of the day, I feel like you should still respect the mother of your child. You can still have some respect for your ex enough to sit here and say okay, just correct somebody in that or whatever, because we already know when we talk about our past, it dictates a lot of how we feel about going forward in relationships. I don't like when a person is scared to talk about the past. We had that whole issue with Cam. So that bothers me. That's the red flags for me with Jonathan, is why every time we come talking about your past, it's always this wall up. You can ask me questions. You can ask me 1,000,001 questions about mine. But as soon as I ask you one about yours, why we got to go there? Why we got to talk about that? That's not important. I'm trying to move forward. No, well, a lot of history dictates how the future is going to go. So if we don't talk and address the history, we're going to repeat it. So I need to know what you've been experiencing, what you're going through, and if I can handle your triggers, your trauma. Let me know. Because I don't want to wake up being slapped out of the middle of my night because you got PTSD from something, and I don't know you have night terrors. Let me know what's going on with you. It's not that hard. If you're interested in me, we can communicate. We can have this. If you're not interested in me, tell me it's none of my business and move on. But you can communicate either way. So both of these parties was a bit wrong, but Mika, you did the most. You need to ask yourself why he didn't feel comfortable enough to tell you, but he told Maya. Maybe you did something wrong. Check yourself before you be trying to check someone else.
Yep. Who wants to take this next? Sean, good to see you. I don't know if he's there. Yes,
I'm
DJ.
here. I'm here. I mean, after Seaway, dressed down Mika, I really don't know that there's any much left to say, But I stand in solidarity with her. I definitely agree that you shouldn't assume, just like Jay said. We know what happens when people do that. Could he have answered better, or could he have corrected her? Sure. I do think that I don't know. I feel like I'm not sure if Mika is there for the right reasons. You know, not based on the conversations that I see her having with the guys. I think it's more of like she's not entering into these dating situations with good faith. It's like, I want to assume the worst, and then that's how I'm going to direct my questions to uncover the worst that I already think. So I think that's why she didn't get good answers from Jonathan. That's why he didn't feel open enough to share with her. He felt judged because she was judging. But I think, listen, people in glass houses just need to be a little careful about how they come at other folks to judging. And I think, listen, that's the same energy her and April had together, and it didn't work well for April. And, the fellas sent her packing. So I just think we just need to be careful with the energies that we have. And I'm not completely thrilled by Mika's energy at this point. My thoughts.
I'm gonna say one
Thank
last
you.
thing. Can I say one last thing real quick? This is always going to be a bad combination when two people lead with fear, because to be guarded, not have boundaries, but to be guarded, you're leading in fear. Mika also leads in fear because, like Sean just said, your questioning is from the perspective of I already found you guilty. I just need to prove it. So when these two people come together, it's never a good thing because the guard is never going to be let down because you're already assuming the worst of me. Why would I let my guard down? If I already have a past where my vulnerable side was used against me, you don't make me feel comfortable enough to do it because this is how you're going to react. This is an indication of how you're going to react as soon as I tell you something. And you're going to throw it against me later on. So these two people was never going to work out in the first because there's a lot of healing that needs to be done individually between the both of them because they both got some stuff going on. So they just move on, chalk it up, deuces. We don't like each other. We're not made for each other. Bye.
And that, like, I'll just piggyback off what Jay said. Like, I think it makes sense to what Jonathan was saying in his confessional. I don't think he wants the information to be weaponized and used against him in a ladies' lounge. So I think he's trying to be selective with who he thinks he can share that information with, and they'll take it and not really hold on to it. Whereas it seems to be a bone of contention for Miko, right? Like, so that's why she has so much strong feeling about it. So I think he's trying to pick selectively who he divulges all of that stuff to. And again, I don't think it's something that he wants to keep talking about because sometimes you can, especially as we said before, it's on a national and international TV show. So if he says certain things that disparage his baby mother or whatever, then it may affect that relationship dynamic when the shows stop filming and the cameras are off. Now he has to go back into reality and have the interaction for the sake of the child that they have together. So he has to be careful with what he presents. So the best thing to do is say, yeah, it happened. I was married. And really cut it short after that. Look, now I'm on the show for a reason. If I was still married, I wouldn't be on the show. If I was still spinning the block, I wouldn't be on the show. So I think by her line of questioning, there's like an air of suspicion as well, because, like you said, she has 2 children. She wasn't previously married. So that may come from, her baby daddy and herself's interaction with regards to spinning the block and things like that. That was one of the first questions she asked him when she sat down with him. Right? So that to me means like she had that at the forefront of her mind to ask him about the situation, maybe because it's something that she's experienced herself.
But my thing is this: I look at this show like being like prison, right? If one cast member knows something, everybody knows it, and most eyes. So I'm thinking like, how did she not get this information beforehand? Like when they played the game, wasn't this part of the questions? Like, didn't the marriage thing come up when they played the game in the First episode, was she not paying attention?
She's in the second. She's
She
not in
wasn't
the
there.
same group.
Oh, she was on the second. So that means half the
He's
cast.
in the first, and she was in the first group, and he's in the second.
Right, he's in the second. So that means half the cast knows that this dude is married. So there was no conversations to let her know, hey, by the way, you know, he might be married. Like, y'all not talking about that type of stuff? Because I'm sitting here like, the cast should know. But again, didn't catch her by surprise. She's still the same girl that was getting flown out to be with NBA players, right? The guy left her in a car to take a picture? And you mad about this guy being married, but you would go fly out with NBA players and get set in the car for like a couple hours, wait for him? Like, come on, priorities. Priorities.
Exactly.
Celebrities. Nah, we don't know what kind of celebrity it was, but
Oh,
I
it's
mean,
celebrity.
I mean,
and I don't think she really likes Jonathan. So she wasn't asking nobody about Jonathan. I don't think that was even a part of it. I think it was, again, just a reason to just have him in the bottom.
yeah, she's not checking for Jonathan for real. But the thing about Jonathan is, and this is where he needs his 5 minutes. His situation is a lose-lose of him being on the show. If he omits the information, he's lying and he looks like they still got stuff going on. If he tells the truth, which he needs to opt to do, he needs to inform people, hey, I have an ex-wife. We're still working out our co-parenting and our post-divorce situation. So it's still a touchy subject. But he doesn't want to say the latter because that's pretty much putting out the bat signal that I have ex-wife, child's mother, baby mama issues, which he doesn't want to divulge. But that's not really up to him because either way, it's going to come out. So I understand he doesn't want to be eliminated, but this is not the way to go about it because the fact of the matter is that is your real life situation. You're in a situation where it's not really amicable situation. It doesn't seem to be.
But Seaway, 1 second. You know he did tell Maya, and I don't remember who else. So Maya knows that it's his. He just didn't tell Mika. So he did disclose
Right.
that he has an ex-wife. It just wasn't Tamika. So I think that
Right, but then his
was the
response in the confessional is, I didn't want to tell Mika because I didn't want this used against me. And my thing is he can't pick and choose and cherry pick who he's saying this to. He just needs to put it out there. This is him. Ain't that what he said? They need to accept him for him. Well, yes, they do. So you need to tell them the truth so they can accept you for you. Or they're going to put you on the bottom because you have a messy child's mother, ex-wife situation. Then that's where you have to go. And I know she didn't ask. We already talked about that. But he went on to say he omitted it on purpose. He didn't clarify because he did not want her to know. So that's what I'm speaking about.
It's either you tell your narrative, you tell your story, you're going to let other people create it. So in this case, you let Mika create it, and she could potentially have you at the bottom. Because she could sit there and go back to the group and be like, oh, he omitted this information or he lied about it or whatever, because her interpretation could be whatever the case may be. Like Seaway say, just tell your truth.
And
If I want
the other ladies are going to just do like Alexis
Am I not
did.
still talking? Oh, sorry. Like,
I mean, listen, we do this all the time. Don't
no, but I'm in the middle of a whole sentence though. I ain't paused this time. Usually when I pause, I'll let you jump in. Okay, you went through a tunnel, Sean. It's okay. I forgive you. I love you.
He didn't go through no tunnel. He been cutting me off.
I know. I don't want to tussle with Sean. I don't want to tussle with Sean tonight.
It didn't sound that way.
I know, but I just want you a little spicy, Sean. You know, you like it when it's spicy.
Hit him with a rare.
Well, hey now.
Not the hey now. Go ahead, Sean. Now you made me get off subject. Go ahead. Finish.
I was done. That's all I wanted to.
Not Jesus cut him off. So there you go.
I was done. Jesus didn't cut nothing.
I mean, listen, hey, look, I think this situation with Jonathan and Mika is interesting, right? Because I think the first thing we saw with them two, and hopefully I'm not whispering because I don't know what's going on my mic, I think, with you guys, but I think the situation between Mika and Jonathan, their first interaction, so what we saw was the interrogation. And something I've noticed about Jonathan is I don't think he likes confrontation at all. So that first interaction between April and Mika, the first thing, seemingly from what we can see, edited wise, was an interrogation. So then, knowing someone like Jonathan, he shies away from people like that. This we noticed that on the very first episode with Rashina and who was the other person? Patricia, right? He kind of shied away from them in their interactions. As soon as he sees any kind of spikiness, you might be calling it spicy, he's calling it it's going to be a problem. So as soon as he sees that, he wants to kind of separate from that immediately. And I think he got that same energy from Mika, and he got it from April. And you actually see his reactions to both April and Mika on the last episode for April and this episode for Mika. And he doesn't like that, right? So I think naturally for him, in that, yes, him admitting information, yeah, to you, I don't want you to know, okay? Because I don't like you and I don't like the way you've interrogated me. So what kind of information could I give you that's going to be beneficial to my explanation? If I explain it to you, I don't feel like you're even really going to hear me out. And I think that immediately put him on a back burner. But it still means that he still has to figure out how he's going to explain this, because clearly when you're explaining it, it's difficult. So you need to figure out how you're going to explain this, because you've got a complicated situation. So he still needs to figure it out, because a simple situation, I don't care if you're going to misconstrue it, it's simple enough, you can't misconstrue it. But seemingly your situation is not simple. Because if it's a case of, my ex-wife, who is the mother of my kids, okay, we had a situation previously, I came out of it, and yes, I went back and double back. That's it. No, that's all. I'm now free from it. It was it was about 6 months ago. I'm free from it. I haven't gone back there since. The reality is, you're probably still dabbling. Okay, you're probably still dabbling. You're probably still going flingy back and forth, still with a situation. It's now complicated because you've involved yourself in it now, and she's probably cussing you out probably in text as well because she's seen you on TV. You didn't tell her you on TV, but that's another joke beside that. But I think there's probably a bit more messiness to it. And so that's why you're struggling to be able to really explain it. I definitely know that he didn't probably want to explain that to Mika, but he definitely did explain himself to Maya when he said about the ex-wife. Now, did he go into detail about the baby mama situation as such? No, he explained that he was married. So we don't know the fullness of what he's actually explained. So I still think there are some aspects that need to be fleshed out, and I don't know if he's fleshed out his own entire story. He gives me people pleaser, I can't lie to you. He gives me people pleaser. So he's given somebody who likes to please the other person to the fullest, and that can get you into some trouble sometimes, right? You put yourself in situations that you shouldn't be in, and I think that's playing now in the way that you're now struggling to really assert yourself and let people know what it actually is. But yeah, I definitely felt like with Mika, I wish that she came with a bit more compassion. If you really wanted to know what his story was, you need to be inquisitive and not an interrogator. Okay, interrogations are always looking for things that are going to go wrong. Inquisitive people look for things that are going to go right. You weren't looking for something to go right. You were looking for something to go wrong. You were looking for something to exclude him from your list, right? So if that's the case, we understand that. But I think someone else said it as well. I think Glenn kind of said this. Why were you so hot on trying to expose him? More than likely because at her situation, she's gone through something very probably painful, and she's trying to avoid a repeat situation. But sis, there is a better way to go about asking that question or asking those questions in order to get the answers that you want. You got to learn how to tempt with honey, baby. Okay, all right. Now Mika I told you, listen, I think Mika is stunning. But what I saw in that episode, I said, yeah, I dropped her. I dropped her right down. I told y'all, when I see that personality, I drop people down. She was real down the bottom. I felt so bad. I was like, baby, I need you to come back up. But the way you acted, you were really just dropping real bad. So yeah, hopefully she works on that. And that's something she can. Hopefully she can work on that, and hopefully that's something that she can improve on as well. But it's not looking good. It's not looking good. But Jonathan, please, can you clarify what is going on? Okay, because it sounds complicated, whatever you got going. I don't know if anyone else wants to add before we switch it. Okay, fantastic. Again, reset the room. We've got 663 people in the room. Thank you so much. We've got a little bit more to discuss before we jump off here. But if you haven't done so already, listen, make sure you're liking, you're sharing, and you are subscribed to the channel as well. And I believe obviously Jay's also linked her account as well. Another round. If you're tuning in from there, shout out to you as well. Thank you so much for tuning in. Actually, we should get Jack and Glenn. We should get you to tune in. If you do stream, we can get you to link your channel next time as well. So JRXTV, thank you as well for linking your channel as well. So we are going to now switch it again to another conversation because there was other things that were going on. There was a new guy that came into the place. There was a new guy that came into the place. I think it was his name. What's his name? Justin. I think it was just. Was it Justin? So Justin came in and he had a date with Rashina. First and foremost, who chose that date to date with dogs around them? Absolutely awful date. Awful date. Dogs out here just distracting the ting. You understand? Yeah? Ting was just confusing. The brother wasn't sure what he was doing. He was dog handling or trying to have a conversation. But it did make for a very kind of interesting setting, and they did have an interesting conversation. But like I always say, that first conversation, brothers are always trying to keep it sweet, just to kind of keep their options open. So I want to get your guys' thoughts. What was your thoughts? What are observations on the Justin and the Rashina date? Let me know your thoughts around it. I'm looking for the Family Fortunes movement from one of you guys, and so you can get this started. I say Aries. Thank you so much.
I'll go ahead and get my quick thoughts out. First of all, Justin, when he had that waist leash on, I was like, his dog is about to be a mess. I could already tell. Just like them parents that be having their kids on a leash. That's what it felt like to me. I was like, this dog about to act up. But I feel like the dog date could have been a good date if the dog was behaved. And honestly, it would have been a good way for him to show his kind of, I don't like to use the alpha term, but that he had some control over the dog. Like, hey, if he had his dog in check, then she would have been like, ew, that would have been a way for her as a dog mom to see like, oh, he's leading the pack, or whatever. But he's cute, so I think he still got away with it with her. I do think that he's and it is funny because he is friends there's somebody said he was the brother of Christopher from my season, but I know they're friends for sure. I don't know if they're blood related. I know that they are friends. But so he has that vibe. He's similar vibe as Christopher. Good personality. I liked him as an addition to the show. I think he came in with good vibes. I did feel like he was being kind of politically correct with his answers regarding kids. Like, you're only 34. Like, you still have plenty of time to have kids. Like, if you really want them. Like, but if a lot of these ladies don't want kids, it seems that the ones that already have kids don't want kids. So I can see why he was doing that. I felt like Christopher did the same thing when me and him talked one-on-one. He was like, well, I'm like, boy, you want some damn kids. Get out of here. So I feel like it's a little bit they're kind of like they're pouncing on him because he's like, oh, you don't care if you have kids, but it's like in reality, y'all know that man wants some kids. Like let him go ahead and have his little kids, So I think it's gonna be interesting to see how he navigates the rest of the ladies, like as he gets some more one-on-one dates. But I think he handled it well coming in. Just initially, and as we see kind of going forward, Mika's going to be on him next week. So I just think that he was a good person to be an addition. I don't think that it was a breath of fresh air because he was more attractive than the other guys that are on the show right now. So I think it gave the ladies a little more like hope that, oh yeah, something good could come from this. So I'm sure every single one of them will be trying to get his attention in some way, shape, or form as we go forward. So yeah, that dog was a hot mess though. I was like, Lord, get the dog together because now you're looking like you don't got no control. So that wasn't a good look. But overall, outside of the dog, I liked him coming in.
Was that a husky mix? What kind of dog was that?
It looked like a husky. It had some husky esque ways, but that dog was acting a
XL
fool.
bully.
What you say, Jr.?
XL bully.
I wasn't on XL bully. JR trolling. Yeah, it looked kind of husky-ish, and I don't. And the reason why I asked that is because you can't take no husky mixed with nothing. I don't know, little dog day. You already know they're gonna act a fool. I mean, that was just gonna happen. I thought that was an adorable date. Rashina, yeah, am I saying her name right? Her dog was very well behaved, little adorable dog. But yeah, that little husky mix was acting like them huskies. Sorry if y'all got a husky, but they don't be knowing how to act. Not none of them. So, I wasn't surprised about that. But he was very refreshing. You know what was most refreshing about him was the fact that he seemed genuinely on there for love. I know that sounds bad, but there was something about him that actually seemed like he was like really excited about the opportunity to meet people outside of like the avenues that he's been trying to meet people and really find love. And that was so refreshing. Like no matter like what happens after that, like I don't feel like he's on here for the wrong reasons. And I kind of gather that through the screen. I do feel like because he's really is open to love, he was trying not to shoot down people off the bat that have kids and don't want kids. So I think he was trying to be genuinely open. Do I feel like that's realistic at 34 when a man can have kids until eternity? But realistically, they definitely can have kids for the next 10, 15 more years if they want to. I'm not sure if that is realistic, but you know, and I won't repeat what I said before because I'm not trying to be mean, but I just feel like y'all know this man doesn't have any kids. Like, if you're seriously interested in him, you really should think about the fact that if you're willing to have another kid, if y'all were serious, like that really should be a consideration for a man who's 34, who you want to be a father figure to. You're not one, but two kids for both of you guys. Just something I think you should consider. So
I agree with Seaway. I thought it was kind of refreshing the way he came. He came off genuine, right? He came off authentic. He came off like he was really caring. I can see at 34. Depends on what he's a high school. He's just a PE teacher. So it depends. If you work around little kids all day, I can see how that turns you off a bit when you have kids. It just depends on what level he's at. In the school system. I can see that when he worked with kids every day. So a person who could be, he's like, you know what, I'm fine when I have my own because every day I go to school, I'm a father to 34 kids, 100 and some kids, whatever case may be. I'm in part taking them. I can see that. Just a thought and theory I had, but I thought Rashina and him had a great date. The dog date was a little wild though, but if you're a dog person, you enjoyed it, right? I think the place was called Mutts. Great concept. But they enjoyed each other. I do, everybody is falling heads over heels over Justin to this point that Patrice invited him to Chaz's house without being asked. I don't know if that was production or that was real, but everybody wants a piece of him, right? I figure it was production because you can't just walk up in my house anyway and be like, hey, what's up, dog? And have a seat. Like, we didn't invite you. But again, Patrice wanted to be with Justin. So everybody's different. And I took that as being, you know what, these women know that with him just being a different guy and they looking at the guys they have around, about 2 weeks in, I think you be like, I think you're at a point where you know who you really like, who you don't like, and what are you willing to play the game or not, right? So with him being there, everybody's trying to put their claws in him. And I hope Justin stays true to himself and he shows us who he really is. And maybe he is the person who's really trying to find love. He probably does want, because from the clip, he gave Mika a different answer than he gave Rashina. Because for Mika, when he was with Rashina, he says, I've come to the terms I might not ever have kids or I don't want kids. But when you see the clip with Mika, he said, yeah, you know what? I'm open to it. So it was two different things he said to two different women. So kind of agree with Seaway. They might be playing on him a little bit. If you don't want to have kids, don't mess with him. He's 34. Let him have kids if he wants them. But we'll see.
And yeah, like I agree with that, with what Glenn said as well. I think the thing with Justin is he's going to be very popular because he can actually play both sides, right? On the one hand, he says he's open to not having kids. He's kind of resigned himself to the possibility that it might not happen. But at the same time, because he doesn't have any of his own, and some of the ladies on the show don't, like he's still available to date them, and it would be a first for both of them if they were to get together. So I think he stands a good chance of staying on because he hasn't alienated one particular group either way. And also, he is around kids all day at school, at work. So at this point, he might feel like, you know what, I'm with kids all day, every day. When I go home, you know, he doesn't mind being around them. And it also shows that he can be around children and know how to, you know, be comfortable in his role around children because he's got that experience at work all the time. So in his personal life, if he does meet a lady with kids, it's not going to be so foreign, if you get what I mean. Like, he's not going to have to work on learning personalities and things like that. He might actually be likable because of his field. PE, sports, if the lady's got two boys, then that's something that he can use to create a bond with those children. So yeah, I think he's going to be popular. My only thing with Justin is at 34, will these? There are some that have indicated that they will date younger, but how many? Because, you know, a lot of the women may be older than him. That's my thoughts.
Cool. Appreciate it. Any other thoughts on this before we switch it again?
Are we talking about just the date or even when he went over Chaz's house and stuff too? Or are we just that one?
You know what? I didn't even see that part, so you can go for it if you want. I didn't actually get to see it. I don't know why on my thing I didn't see it, so go for it.
Jazz tried to shade him.
He did though.
Serious?
He tried to, so when he came over Chaz's house, he mentioned that, you know, like he was kind of like, I'm from Mississippi. This is the first time meeting some of the people, whatever. He was like, my granddad is the mayor of whateverville, some small town place. And Chaz was like, why did you lead with that? Why did you say that? Even though I was kind of thinking the same thing. Like, why do we care what your granddaddy was doing? You know, whatever. But that was his little, I guess, fun fact that he wanted to add into the mix or whatever. But Chaz tried to call him out, like in front of everybody, but he didn't back down, which I liked. I was like, he didn't just let him punk him, even though this your house and everything, you know. And then he beat him in dominoes in his own house. So that was funny to me. I like when people, you know, there's certain guys that will try to, you know, put their little, you know, alpha male energy or whatever you want to call it out there.
And dick measuring contest.
Yeah, dick measuring. I like that one. And that didn't work. So I like that as well. Again, same thing that Red did to Christopher when he came into the date, like, oh, no. And it's like, you'd be like, nah, like, don't let him fuck you like that. So I like that. I feel like he had a good personality at the house and was able to mix and mingle just fine, which is probably why they picked him to be, like, you know, the person to come in at this point. His personality showed that he can mix it and mingle it. So that was cool. I think obviously they said Patrice invited him, but you know, it's a part of the TV, you know, production obviously did it. But because I'm like, how did Patrice get his number? Like, she never had met him except for at that one time, you know, so you could kind of narrow that down that it wasn't like that. So anywho, I thought it was good. You didn't see the house date? You didn't see the house part at all?
Kojo's acting like me now. I took notes. We done switched places.
I only got to see the part with Vanessa and Chaz. That's the part I got to see. But other than that, I don't get to see anything else.
Oh, damn. Okay,
Now-
so that you missed the apology from.
Yeah, I missed the apology. Yeah, I couldn't see it.
Oh, okay. All right. Well, we'll get to that later.
Oh man, go for it. Go for it.
Now,
We might as well while we're here.
Aries,
Yes.
question. Now, why would you think Patrice would lie and say that she invited him if she didn't?
not necessarily lie, but just like how people say, I set up a date with these people. Nobody's setting up dates. You don't know who you're going on these dates with. Those are usually post-production conversations. That's just my 2 cents on that. But not saying that she lied. I'm just saying that it's a part of the way they set the show up.
They got to give away that he got there. So somebody,
Yeah, like he just ran. He not gonna. There has to be some kind of way that he came to the house. So, that was just the narrative they went with, I think.
they said you in a dungeon, Sean.
Yeah, I'm driving.
I'm not sure in the dungeon.
He in that basement. They
I'm
said
back in my mama's basement where I started. So
Better pay a bill or two.
All those people who said that probably ain't even watching no more. Those people are crazy.
Wait,
back to the dog date though.
That was a narrative, Sean, that you live in your mama's basement?
Oh,
Yes.
yeah, because they were pissed. They didn't like me when I first came on. So not all of them. I don't want to be too general, but there was, I have my own little hate squad. So they would see me come on and they'll be like, "You just need to get out your mama's basement," and da 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 da. And at that time, Seaway and I were not big fans of the Liz and Jason relationship. So everybody had them, how could you dare say anything against their relationship? You're a hater. So they put me in my mama's basement. I'm like, first of all, my mama ain't got a basement for me to be in.
On the pallet.
Now I'm on that's it. So there's that. But yeah, that was the narrative. But real quick on the dog date of it all. I mean, I'm a dog person, and mostly everybody knows I love my dog, but I will never, ever in a million years, especially on a first date, bring Abby with me. I just wouldn't. She listens, but she's too overstimulated. And I definitely saw his dog Riley was overstimulated. The one thing that did make me nervous, I heard somebody mention Huskies or something like that earlier, so I don't know if I missed that part. But Huskies generally do not get along with small dogs. They're wolf sense again, and typically they look at them as prey. I mean, so I'm just glad that it all worked out. I mean, maybe, she's just very gentle in that space with other dogs, especially smaller ones. So I was glad that worked out. But when I saw that Husky roll out and then he had that, leash around his waist, I'm like, I don't think this is for a dog that size, bro. So my little thoughts, but they navigated it well. But again, that's not a good first date. Once we got to know each other, then we could socialize with our dogs. But I think a good first date could have been something else.
They be doing that, Sean, on Married at First Sight. Always trying to bring their dogs around, and that's when the hell start.
Yeah, Justin and Alexis, wasn't
dogs
it?
Dogs get to tussling. You remember Alexis and Justin?
They got that dog fight. Them dogs cause more trouble than the humans do.
Yep. Newton got bit.
All right, so let's shift it then, because obviously the house.
Go do you said after the dogs. You don't care about these dogs at all.
I don't give a heck about these dogs. Listen, I see lots of business. I see lots of sons and daughters, but I have no space for them. Obviously later on, Chaz, Vanessa, they had a little bit of a date. I'll keep this conversation a bit more shorter because obviously our time's going to go away. But Vanessa and Chaz seem to really get on. I mean, it looks like it could be a match made in heaven. I mean, personally, I don't think it is. Personally, I think Chaz is playing the game. I think he likes her, but I think, what it's giving? It's giving, he really does like her, but you know what? He wants a baddie. Just going to be honest with you. He wants a bit more spice from a woman. That's what I feel like. I feel like he's enjoying Vanessa, but he wants a little bit more spice. Vanessa's nice, but she's, she needs a little bit of the chemical X in there. You know what I mean? I think a little chemical X in there could ginger him a little bit, as well. But I do like them together. I just think that he wants a little chemical X in there, because when he was liking Rashina, I was like, yeah, them two, Rashina and Vanessa, kind of really different. I ain't gonna lie to you, ain't even close. So when I see that, I go, a brother wants a bit of X in there. Okay, he wants a little X in there, a little spice in the potion. So, but we'll wait and see. Maybe he will be able to contain it as well. What's your guys' thoughts? That Chaz and Vanessa. What's your thoughts to the date and what you saw as well? Talk to me. Talk to me. Yes,
That's the
thank you,
only
Ariel.
person she likes. And she's getting very sprung right now. Like, oh, Chaz, looking into his eyes and everything. And I'm like, that's it. There's nobody else but Chaz. So, Chaz is going to definitely, I feel, play the game, because obviously, unless everybody's in love with y'all as a couple, you need to be connected to somebody else on the show. So he'll probably have another connection with somebody else, but I felt like I wanted to see a little more if it was like that, all of that. I didn't feel like the gazing in the eyes got a little awkward at one point. It was kind of like, give me a little more. It didn't, on his part, like I definitely felt like Vanessa was into Chaz. Like, that's her boo. Because she's like, I'm gonna get under these covers if you don't mind. I was like, get under them covers, girl. But he was kind of like smiling and looking and everything, but it just something with him isn't quite clicking properly. And I don't know what it is. Like, it's not that he seems like he's a bad dude, but it's just something not wrapping all the way around with him for me. So I just want to see more of him. Hopefully, maybe next week we'll get more dates with him. Like, and that might be another part of it, is that we're not really getting screen time for him. Dominic hasn't gotten screen time. He hasn't really gotten a lot of screen time. He gets a little bit, but I need to see him interact a little more. And so we only got a brief moment with him, and it's something I'm not sold yet. So yeah. Like his house though.
Seems like he's guarded. He's keeping things close to the chest, and he's keeping. I think he does like Vanessa, but I don't know to what extent. And they only showing us one narrative, right? Like whatever happened to him and Rashina, we're not seeing anything else with him and Rashina because it didn't go south that we know of. So is he still talking to Rashina and Vanessa at the same time? Because all they showing us is Vanessa, and she was gonna stay. She was the first one there. And she was the last one to leave. She was going to make sure that she got her quality time with Chaz. That it didn't matter who, if somebody would stay till like 2 or 3 o'clock in the morning, she'll make sure she was the last one to walk out, because she needed her and Chaz have that quality time and have that moment. And I think if he does mess with somebody else, she's going to be totally heartbroken. I don't think she would take it. I don't think she's able to take it well if there's somebody else, because there's nobody else for her. We didn't see anybody else to have a conversation with her. We didn't see her really interact with anybody else. So if Chaz does still messing with Rashina, and he leans that way, if they have too many dates, we'll see Vanessa have a hard time struggling to stay on the show. I think Vanessa will struggle because I don't think she wants to see Chaz with anybody else. This is her number one. She doesn't have a 1B. She ain't got a 1C. She has one person, and all chips are in. She's all in, and she hoping this one will cash in and be her forever guy. And I told you guys, I think I said the first time we was on, she gives me Liz so much that she's trying. She gives me Liz, so, and she's gonna be heartbroken.
I think they have had a good vibe, obviously, but I think the problem is she likes him. She obviously feels comfortable around him because she could have left with everybody else, but she made no attempt to leave. She actually sat down on that couch and was quite relaxed to be in his presence in his house after everybody has left. So that was a key factor for me in what I saw. And then also the fact that he felt comfortable kissing her hand. So, I know some people may think, what's the big deal? But I'm thinking at this early stage, comfortable around each other in his house, on the couch together late night, that to me means that there is a lot of chemistry there, both sides. But I do see what Glenn's saying. It's still very early in the process. We don't know if there's going to be any other curveballs, and he hasn't really sat down to have enough time with the other ladies in the same way. So I think as the show goes on, there is a potential for her to get her feelings hurt if he's the only guy that's connecting with her, and he may have other ladies that are interested in him and has to kind of spread himself around. She may not be comfortable with that.
I ain't got much, guys. I'm confused with these guys. And I don't, I'm able to admit when I just really don't know. All I can say is that she seems very comfortable with her toes tucked under that blanket. Um, and that's a good sign for her and for them that they're very comfortable. But I personally find Vanessa to be very confusing and Chaz to be very confusing separately for separate reasons. So when they come together, I just don't have an effing clue. I'm just not going to hold y'all. I don't have a clue in the slightest. They're both a ball of confusion for me. So we'll see. But they seem like they like each other. They smiling and grinning and all the things. So we'll just see where it goes.
Coolly.
See where I love it.
What?
Her toes, she's comfortable with her toes tucked under the
that
blanket.
was my Grace Mercy say. Want to know if I took notes? I did. My notes was toes tucked under blanket, very comfortable. That's what I had. And then my next notes was smiling and grinning. That's all I had. They really didn't say anything. Like some people, I saw some reviews, they took more from that scene, but they didn't do anything but smile and giggle and say that they're on cloud nine. What else was said? I'm sure there was more said, but that's all they showed us. So I can only go off what they showed us, which was just a lot of smiling and grinning and her toes tucked under that blanket. So
I'm loving your takes. But you said what perplexed you? Because now I want to know.
Vanessa gives, somebody says Jack and Jill. Vanessa gives Jack and Jill. She gives sophisticated. She gives put together. She gives Sister Soldier too. She gives like eccentric, like she used black bar soap. She gives all of the things, right? But then she was with a white man, and then she got 2 kids, and I think she was a baby mama. She don't give that. Like she gives a lot of confusion, like a lot of confusion. And then Chaz likes Vanessa, but then he like Rashina, but then he like natural, but then he like makeup and BBL. I don't know what they're doing. I'm confused. So I can't put them together if I can't even understand them separately.
I love it.
Yeah.
That's such an accurate description too. I love it. I yield my time.
I yield my time, my guy. You're too funny. All right, cool. I heard there was an apology as well. I didn't get to see that part either, so I want to quickly get your thoughts on that apology by Alonso and what you felt about the apology towards Koshia. Did you believe it? Did you not believe it? Was it a good apology? Let me know your thoughts.
The apology was if I offended you, if you were, whatever. And I'm trying to stay safe because the women are in charge. It was definitely that. Although Koshia was right into it, like there's no ill will here, I accept. I'm not, there's no issues. They like basically just kissed and made up. And that was it. But it definitely was let me pull you to the side because the women are in charge and I ain't trying to go home and I don't want you on my bad side type of thing. So that's all that was. I felt. I didn't feel like it was really, because clearly we know he is doubling down because just last week he did a whole video on Instagram doubling down on that the comments weren't sexual. So we know he's still holding strong. And that was last year. So a year later, you still feel the same. And so yeah, it's strategy to me to stay in the game. Simple as that.
You know, Kojo did a helpful take on this that I didn't really understand at first. I guess now I do. That this whole disagreement was just about being right and wrong. I think you made a video about that, Kojo, and I was confused by it. You were saying that it wasn't about whether it was inappropriate or not. It was about the principle of whether choked or what is it, choked or grabbed or choked, whatever, is
Choked or
sexual or
spanked.
not. Like, yeah, choked or spanked or whether it was.
Respect.
So if that really was what the disagreement was about, not whether it was inappropriate or not or whatever, then I guess his apology was okay and her accepting of the apology was graceful, but it's all just kind of stupid. I don't think that his apology matched the gaslighting of it all anyway, because regardless if it was just about him being right or wrong, he gaslit her with the whole idea, period. Like the whole idea was a gaslight. So I saw some takes that were a little concerning from a few people not on here that were just very bizarre, as if Alonzo was like some sweet person that came back and gave a gracious apology. But I was like very confused because I'm like, he's apologizing for being a gaslighting fool. So it doesn't really matter if he came back and apologized so sweetly on Elimination Day.
Because he definitely did not apologize for that part. Like, it wasn't like you're like, you know what? It was, it wasn't like he specifically apologized for gaslighting, because that's really what the argument was about. The argument was about the gaslighting. It was not about the subject at all. So she was like, and for her to even be like, we both wanted to be right, I just was like, I feel like she kind of copped out in that moment as well. Like, I'm like, did production tell y'all need to apologize? Like, what happened here? Because it just kind of felt like we need to hurry up and move past it and just move, go forward. But
that's what I'm my bad. I didn't mean to cut you off, Aries.
No, go ahead.
That's what I felt like. Like it was just rushed, right? Because she was so quick to forgive him because the week before or days, whatever case may be, whatever TV time, week before, you was like, she was hot. She got up and stormed off and walked away, right? Because again, choked or spanked, whatever, each his own. You do whatever, but she felt so offended. Now you're willing to forgive, but you can't. I'm gonna say this, I might get hated, but you can't forgive Will saying that you like your ex-husband's dingling, and that's why you didn't find out he had 4 kids. I mean, come on.
I mean, but how much beef does she want to have? I think the reason why, I think she doesn't want that combative stamp on her. So my just opinion is that she knew she had to make amends with somebody, or she was just going to have beef with everybody. I think she picked Alonzo because their beef was more or less stupid outside of the gaslighting of it all. So she probably picked Alonzo to fix it. She ain't gonna fix it with Will because she think Will is actually like a trash person. I don't think she really likes him for real. That's just my guess to answer your question. I don't think she wants to be beefing with everyone. So she tried to fix it.
And it gave narcissists, I don't even use the word narcissist that much, but it gave those vibes because when you're arguing with the narcissist, they will flip that thing on you and have you being the one like, you know what, maybe I need to do better. Maybe I need to improve in this moment. When really they've been gaslighting you but the whole time. And then you're just like, you know what, let me reset and look at myself again. So it kind of gave that a little bit in that moment. Because I'm like, why are you apologizing, girl? Let that man apologize to you.
Because she said, I believe in giving people second chances. That's what she said. I believe in giving grace and believe in giving people second chances. And I'm sitting here watching the show like, you still ain't give Will a second chance because you're just going in on him. And so I'm sitting there like, so you believe give people second chances, just only select people that you believe in give second chances. Then it made me think about, okay, this conversation that you had, y'all must have been talking about sex. It must have been going well until he came off and said some off the wall stuff that you ain't willing to do or you ain't willing to like. And that's when it was like, it went south. So I don't know, but it was an apology. It was something that like the lady said, he just didn't want to get eliminated.
I don't know. I think there's two things. Well, one, I think with Will, I don't know that Will offered her an apology. And I think the comment that Will made, barring it being appropriate, it was also insulting to her specifically. It was saying you were so digmatized that you were blind to the fact that your husband was moving crazy. So it's like insulting her intelligence. So I think it's a little bit more layered, and I don't know that he offered her an apology either, or that was even part of their conversation with it. But more importantly, the Alonzo and Koshia thing, similar to what Ari said, I'm on the same page. But also, Kojo and I were talking about it, and one of the things that I thought was part of it was she opened the, hey, listen, I did a little something, you did a little something, let's just go ahead and just let be, and let's just bury the hatchet. It doesn't need to linger on, because it could just be a major distraction, which I was glad to see, because sometimes these nonsensical arguments about foolishness where neither one of us are going to change, more of a disruption. So I'm glad they were able to just squash it, whether they both can agree or disagree, or Alonzo. I don't think Alonzo will ever acknowledge that he gaslighted her in that moment and he played in her face. I don't think he's ever going to do that. We can look at the video, the YouTube video that he put out. He's not, he's going to be who he is, and he just needs to align himself with somebody who appreciates that level of goofiness.
That makes sense, Sean. It does.
Not him saying a line with the goofiness. Okay, so we'll shift it on again, because our time is almost up. So obviously there was a situation, obviously, with I think that's the last one was, I think, the date, right? The date between William, Alexis, and Lamar. And who was the other person?
You missed
Rashina.
Lamar and Maya's photo shoot.
Oh yes, oh sorry, yes, okay, I'll do that one after then. Because I remember the photo shoot part. So William, obviously, Alexis, Lamar, Rashina situation. Listen, William was putting buckets in. Brother said, "Let me take control of this game." He was giving shoulder rolls. I mean, he was putting fadeaways. Brother was saying he's rolling back the years. Okay, all right. If you want to know what I'm about, let me show you what I'm about. Okay, so shout out to William for that. He was putting buckets in that game. But what was you guys' thoughts as well to a particular date, because Lamar was being whatever Lamar was doing. Then Will also, I don't know, he made a comment about when he was talking to Rashina, and I wasn't really sure. I didn't really hear. I couldn't really hear it. I think he was making a joke about how she spoke to him first or something like that. Whatever. But anyway, I want to get you guys' thoughts on that particular date, and then we'll talk about obviously Lamar and Maya's particular date, which I think she handled quite well as well. Before we pop off, what's your guys' thoughts to this situation?
I just want to say I absolutely adored this date. I was one of my favorite dates I've seen on Ready to Love, because I just love a good sports date. My notes are as follows. I love, this is prior to me discovering that Alexis or Lexi was a pick me and male identified individual, but I really love the fact that she is a female. She does female reffing, and that she brought the folks together to do something where they can kind of relax and it not be so staged or around food. I thought that was really cute. I love seeing William. I love seeing a guy with a dad belly hooping. Like, he was out there hooping with his dad belly, going crazy. That was just really great to see. I love to see him take over the game. You got to love a man of a particular age, still knowing how to move and groove out there. That was phenomenal. I thought Rashina, even though you could tell she doesn't play basketball, her energy was wonderful. She was out there trying, was out there hooping. She wasn't stank and nothing like that. She just looked like she was like prepared to have a good time. And I love how she went with the flow of the date and wasn't like, just went with the flow. She wasn't sitting down like what's her name from last season? I don't remember people's name, but the one that was sitting down who didn't want to do the
Janelle.
Zumba. Yeah, like she wasn't sitting down like Janelle with her skirt dress. So I appreciated that she was a good sport. And then Will was just there. I have no idea what he was doing, but he was just there and losing. With LaRon, they both lost, so I don't know. That wasn't a good sign. And then LaRon was just talking so much trash and acting like he did something to. He tried to lose on purpose. He is such a uber duper clown. Um, and those are my notes. I thought it was a really great date. I thought Alexis would like William after that date. I still was confused that she likes Will. I didn't realize that, but yeah, I thought it was a cute date.
That was me. I thought she was gonna like William after the date. William had some great. They had great conversation. I'm like, man, she was feeling him. I thought Rashina handled herself well with Lamar and Will. You know, even when she slipped up and talked about 3 years, and Lamar took it to the threesome thing yet again. I thought she handled herself well. Thought she participated in the game. That was okay. You could tell that she wasn't a basketball player, but she gave it a best effort, right? And when William was playing basketball, I'm telling my age a little bit, it reminded me of Kevin Duckworth. Y'all can go look him up if you don't know who Kevin Duckworth is. Played for the Portland Trailblazers back in the day. But he had some game. He was willing to play. So I thought it was a good date. I like the athletic date as well. Being a referee, and I love to see her. I wanted to see her play a little bit though, just see if she could play, and just wanted to see how she would do in the competition thing. But it was good for her being out there to be objective. But she still likes Will, and I thought William. She's had two good moments with William in the past couple of episodes. I think from the first time they met and from this one, but for somehow she don't like that dude. But we'll see.
Ain't Will shorter than her too? Ain't he short?
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. What is with that? He looks kind of itty bitty next to her.
Yeah, he's short.
But William has 3 children with 2 mothers. So
Will doesn't have
That's
any
right. He
kids.
did.
William
He was
doesn't
married
have
twice,
any.
right?
Yes, and she said that at the first mixer that she does not. She would prefer someone that did not have kids, but also the fact that he has 3. I think if he had 1 kid, she probably would have been okay. But I think it's the 3 with 2 moms that kind of was like, yeah, no. So it don't matter what he say at this point. I don't think he has a chance, which he seems like he's pretty decent, But again, that is something that will, it carries, it carries forward. I think them having Lamar on all these dates was just the way to get him out of here. This week, it was put him on as many dates as possible. He's going to show himself, and he did on this date as well. He was just like, she's like, "What's intimacy to you?" And he's just like, "Yeah, what color drawers you got on?" Texting. I'm like, first of all, sir, that was crazy to me. I was like, this man is diabolical at this point. It is like you just expect crazy stuff to come out of his mouth. And he did not care. Like he just was saying anything the whole time. He was like, I was gonna dump, but Negro, you weren't about to do nothing. So it was just funny. I did like her in the sports thing. She's like, that was a flirting, foul or whatever. She was just calling random stuff, but I thought it was a creative date as well. And Will, I feel like he was just doing the politically correct thing. God first. Dudes be, man, the ones that put God first that much, I'll be like, my eyebrows are really out on you because it's too much. And I don't know. It was just feeling real pageant answer when he was answering some of the questions. I'm like, come on, sis. I know you got to see through some of this, but maybe she didn't. I don't know. But what else happened on the day? I loved William and his balling. He was balling. He was letting them know, quit playing with me out here. So I did love that. And yeah, so I mean, you could tell that she obviously was already bent on like Will being her person. She, you put Will in the bar right here, you're gonna pick Will. If there's somebody to pick, unless you're Rashina and you're like, I ain't picking either one of y'all, which I love because she was honest. And letting them know, like, I mean, I'm not about to sit here and lie, but I'll make it kind of a joke, but also I ain't picking either one of y'all. So that was pretty clear. Anyway, overall, I think the date, I liked it. I love the active dates because you get to see people's personalities a lot more and their competitiveness and just kind of how they handle different scenarios. So that was a cute date, very unique to the show. I don't think we've had a basketball date before, so that was kind of cool. And then, like you see, I was like, dang, why you have to like mess it up by being like this at the end? I like this day. It gave her a better, like, it just showed her in a different light. It made me like her a lot more here.
I wanted to like her so bad.
Yeah.
I really liked her. But if you're not a girl's girl and you start pulling those type of stunts, you're gonna ruin it for me. I really did like her a lot though. Thought she was so cute, love athletic, tomboy vibe. Like that is my vibe. Like I really liked her, but
yeah,
I don't like that. I don't like the pick me stuff, so that just don't work.
Yeah.
Yeah, I like the date. I'm a basketball fan, so basketball savant, as they say. So I appreciate the fact that it showed that looks can be deceiving. Because just like Seaway said, if you look at the physical appearance of William, like he's not really cut, chiseled. He's far from it. So the fact that he was able to go out there and ball like that, wasn't pooped, parched, out of breath, doubled up. Nah, he looked like he was good to go, and everybody was barbecue chicken down in that low post. And so, looks can be deceiving. Never judge a book by its cover, because you wouldn't have expected that. And I think that would have impressed some of the ladies that may not have thought him to be athletic or in shape, right? He can still go. And you don't get that good overnight, and that wasn't luck. So he's definitely someone that spends time doing some type of sports or activity. So that's a good thing. Then I also liked the fact that was it Rashida? Yeah. I think when she was sitting with Lamar and Will, those are two of the more problematic guys in terms of making those type of comments that might get your back up. And that's why I really respect her when they tried to put her on the spot. These two kinky dudes talking about threesomes and all types of stuff. She shut it down. She said, to be honest, I wouldn't pick none of y'all. Like, none of you are speaking my language. So she shut that down straight away. I'm not down for your little smuttiness and all that stuff. So I really like that part about the date too. And I think I didn't see any real matches, but I still like the date anyway. It was a date that was all inclusive to a degree. I thought there should have been one extra lady there, because you did have the guys outnumber the ladies that were playing. So I think that would have been a good thing to see. But yeah, good date, man. Fun dates like that are gonna have like a teamwork element. So you're gonna build trust and communication to a degree. And then that can also enhance your connection as you go forward. So yeah, I like that date.
I just say all y'all talk about y'all believe in God. This is a Christian channel talking about that man hips. And it's about to be Sunday. Y'all ain't right. That's all.
And it's Sunday on the East Coast, Seaway, so let them know.
Yeah, it's Sunday on the East Coast. Y'all talk about that man hips. I still ain't seen these hips. I'm just laughing at y'all.
Matter of fact, I'm gonna go you one better. It's called body shaming. How about that?
Yes, you guys are body shaming him.
All right, let me shift it again because we've got the last few minutes. We've gone over time, and I apologize. Last one, obviously, is talking about Maya and Lamar's date. Listen, I think she handled this exquisitely well. If you want to know how to handle, somebody who's a serial boundary breaker, and who's not serious about life and not serious about relationships, this is, I believe, the way to handle it, man. I can't lie to you. So I think she did a great job in terms of letting him, letting him down gently and easily. I think he embarrassed himself. I can't lie to you. Watching that back, it was embarrassing to watch. I can't lie to you that you were pushing that boundary consistently, asking really dumb questions. I don't care how you want to put it. It's just unnecessary, and it's a crass character to play. If you're pushing that character to want to be on TV, it's a crass one to play. Like, I'll be honest with you, but hey, everybody each to their own. What's your thoughts on the Maya and the Lamar date situation? Because again, I wasn't impressed with his antics and that set. Let me know your thoughts, guys. JR looks ready.
Right.
Go on.
Oh yeah, like listen, man. I kind of reserved judgment for the first week or whatever, but Lamar had to go. I knew that dude shouldn't have unpacked all his luggage because he ain't gonna stay on there for too long with what he was leading with. And the problem is he doesn't see anything wrong with it. Like when he was getting the feedback, he was like, "But we're grown. Like, what do you expect me? What do you expect me to talk about? Things other than like the sex?" That's all that was on his mind. Not relationship, not marriage, not anything like that. And unfortunately for him, we're not on that type of show where you're gonna get those freaky things like that. People are coming on here for a more serious relationship than they've probably had before. They're looking to find that person. So leading with sex is gonna be on the opposite end of the scale. So he had to go. And I also have to say Koshia, however you pronounce it. There's too many Ishas and things like that. But
You're right. She come for you.
yeah, I know. I don't want her to come for me, right? But what I'm saying is this particular lady handled it very well because we know she's got a short fuse. And as triggering as some of his line of questioning or his answers were, she didn't rise to it this time. So that to me showed a level of control that I wish she shows in more instances. Because this dude pushes buttons, right? So I have to commend her for keeping it together. And he was definitely trying to catch her out and trying to, in a way joke with it. But at the same time, you can tell he was hurt. Like his ego was bruised. And he admitted it too. Like he lost. He's going home. He didn't like it. But listen, man, you play silly games, you end up with silly prizes type thing. So, I have to say he was the guy this season. I usually have my foot on someone's neck. He's the guy that if he stayed, I would have had my foot on his neck because he just leading with the wrong things for a serious relationship.
You know what was crazy to me was go ahead, Seaway.
No, go ahead, go ahead.
What was crazy to me was that you went on this woman's job. She's doing a photo shoot. You couldn't ask any questions about her profession, what she's doing, about her none of the work, none of that stuff. Like you couldn't open up the conversation with, "Hey, by the way, thanks for inviting me. It's good to be on the photo shoot with you. What you shooting for? What's the product? Let me find out more about the product." He could have did all these things to make this date great, and all he wanted to do was talk about what did you do on your prom night? Did you lose your virginity? I thought that was so rude. That was like, why are you worrying about this woman's virginity? And if she lost it on her prom night, if that's what happened to you, fine, right? If that's what you did on your prom night, that's fine. But you're here to look for the future and to work on a date for the future. But he led this with every woman, and I'm saying I really wonder why did she? I'm gonna say she. I'm gonna use quotation marks. Why did she even invite him on a date? Like, what was he seeing in Lamar, and who set this thing up? And I mean, I know it's fake production who set this up because again, everybody wanted Lamar out of there. Everybody knew how Lamar was moving, how he was navigating. They was just waiting for the women to have control. Everyone knew that he was going to be the first one gone. And so why was she even in that situation with him in the first place? And he didn't change the whole time that he was on 4 episodes. That's all he talks about was sex. Sex. And we're grown. But no grown person want to hear about that all day long, 24/7. You can't sit down and have a dinner with a person without you talking about sex. Give me a kiss. Let me get a hug. Like you do sound like talking about pervert. That's what you sound like. That's the pervert right there. You're doing too much. There's other things that you could do to build a relationship And I'm gonna stop there because I know we're short on time, so I'm gonna stop there.
Mine's is simple. This old, nasty, middle-aged man, I believe, needs to be investigated. For what? I don't know. But somebody needs to look into homeboy. And I really hope that he ain't did nothing that he ain't supposed to do, because when somebody done watching this show, they gon' package this footage up and send it to where it gotta go. This man is disgusting. And honestly, Ready to Love really should be ashamed for putting this nasty man on the show. The women had to endure comment after comment, statement after statement, and it was too far. And what really got me is, again, you're an old, nasty, middle-aged man speaking about what somebody did in high school. Why is high school on your brain, sir? I literally cringe. You're talking about what's the nastiest thing you did in high school? What is wrong? Investigation. Why are you asking about what somebody did in high school? This is by far the grossest individual. At least that old French Haitian man and Habibi were talking about age appropriate things to some degree. You're trying to figure out what somebody did as a child? And he's been married twice? Very nasty old man. Very, very nasty old man. And I don't believe he's 43. I think he's about 55. Very, very nasty old man. He needs to be ashamed. Shame on him.
That was the biggest part for me. It was the high school questioning. Why are you? I don't even barely remember high school, child. Why are you asking about high school at this day and age? Like, and I am curious about the marriages, because who married this man twice? Who? I want to see them. I want evidence of these marriages, because I would not be able to have a conversation with him. He would bother me heavily. So it's just, I don't know. It gives, clearly you're the entertainment and the character, but you are walking around in real life, and you're supposedly a coach of what?
Investigation.
I don't want you around my kids. Boys or girls. Don't want you around my kids.
Can you imagine he's coaching your kids and you hear him on national TV talking about what's the nastiest thing you did in high school when you ain't been to high school? You were in high school in the 1900s, darn near 1800s is the last time you've been in high school. Why are you asking about high school? You know how long high school, what class reunion is this man on? For him to be talking about, he doesn't have about 5, 6, 7 class reunions. Talking about high school. Come on. 1888, last time he been in high school.
No, seriously though, it is concerning and scary. He's already said multiple things that people have let fly throughout these couple of episodes. I want to touch you. I want to jump your bones. What you do in high school? And like every little thing is just like, you're giving perv, and I want to be away from you. I would not want to be on no dates with this man. I wouldn't want to be in the presence of this man. So I also think that, the energy that Coach Shia gave at the end was intentional. Again, going back to women, we know how to have a conversation with someone that we feel unsafe with, so that we can get our asses out of there and make it home. So I think she was just like, you know what? I'm not about to go back and forth with this man. She tried to give it in a nice way multiple times, and he forced it out of her to say, you are being sexual. She was like, risque, like using all the other words. And he's like, no, tell me exactly. And we grown, and it is what it is. Don't care. He's not going to learn from this. He probably is not looking back on this and saying nothing but blaming the other people. I'm pretty sure there's no learning lessons on his part. So I'm just glad he's gone. I was very pleased with this exit, to say the least.
I was just going to add, At least they chose Chaz's house and not Lamar's house for that date, because Lamar's house would have been trouble. All right, and I don't think any of the ladies would have been comfortable staying behind, spending one-on-one time with him. So at least they chose somebody more reputable to do that with.
Any thoughts, Sean, on Maya Lamar?
I'm just mad I got shamed because I had to start to go back and realize I graduated high school in the 1900s, you know? So
I'm sorry.
I'm catching,
you got
I'm catching, I'm catching strays over here. So I just want to,
But you
be
ain't talking
generous.
about high schoolers inappropriately, because you know if you graduated high school in the 1900s, high schoolers should not be coming out your mouth unless it's your kids.
You are correct, Seaway. I shall not tussle because my ego's a little bruised right now. You just came from my whole situation. Actually, if his age is right on the screen, I've graduated a few years before Lamar.
That age ain't right, Sean. That man is 50 plus.
I could be Lamar's older brother, technically. Oh man. So yeah, no, I really do think he was it's beyond inappropriate. I think Ready to Love at this point needs to bring in a DEI expert onto the OWN channel. I'll volunteer, I'll volunteer to help them out, because we just have to have broader conversations around consent, around what sexual assault actually is, what that's considered, how to be appropriate, how to talk to women. I think, we need to bring back being a gentleman. I think we need to, just go ahead for us fellas and do that. So, yeah, 2024, I've been a little bit stronger about what things I even say. So I think he's just like it's beyond being enlightened. He is just downright obtuse, and he pushes boundaries. And for me, the way he behaved during the date with Maya, the way he behaved at even, I think he was highly disrespectful to Koshia at the elimination. He was, paternalistic in the way that he spoke to her and talking about change her tone. He's got a lot of growing, unlearning, and things to do. I hope this is part of an act. I hope that he is auditioning for to be the next stand-up, to be the next something. And I hope this is all just a not well executed act for his benefit. I really do hope it's all an act and he's not like this in real life.
You ain't told no lies there. Any last thoughts, guys, on this subject? Our survey said.
Please call 911.
Listen, there's a madness out here. You get me? But listen, I mean, I think personally that, with Lamar, that it's just too much. You know what I mean? You gotta know a limitation. It was fun. It could have been got away with at first, and then afterwards it just becomes really annoying, and just becomes problematic behavior. And also, I think you're right, Sean. I think this generally is a time that OWN need to actually now bring in advocators and those who can teach on this. It's gone too far. It's like it's not even entertaining. You know what I'm saying to you. This is going to be a case. And someone's going to get in trouble. I think, where they're waiting for something to actually really bad happen. We don't need to wait to that point. There's been way too many close shaves and incidents. In fact, going through the past seasons, there have been, a few women that have complained about men overstepping the boundaries completely to a point. So I think there's a real conversation around, sexual violence, around sexual harassment, around assault as well, sexual assault. There needs to be a real conversation around that, and I think someone needs to step in. It's got too much, on this situation, and it's not necessary in 2024. This, you know what I'm saying to you, it's really not necessary, as well. So, yeah, I just think it's time that people actually have that kind of conversation. And as a man, I'm uncomfortable looking at Lamar behave the way he is. I was uncomfortable with him. He now joins the band of Troy. Who was the other person that was just uncomfortable to watch? I can't remember. Fabrice a little bit, but he's a bit different because I think he was making a few comments. But Corey, yep. Just overstepping boundaries completely, as well. So, yeah. That's yeah. I think we just need to be we need to be guided, and I think OWN and Discovery need to really look at themselves specifically about this kind of behavior that doesn't need to go on. Not on this kind of show. Habibi a little bit as well. Yeah, exactly. So I just think it's uncomfortable. I don't know, Aries, maybe you can give us a bit of an insight. I don't know necessarily. I'm not saying listen, literally anyone done to you, but I'm just saying like in terms of maybe being on set and maybe some of these kind of conversations being had or not being had, or the woman's experience from that kind of situation.
I just feel there's not really much conversation being had in regards to this. I think it's very much used for entertainment. I mean, there's a reason they brought these people on. There's no way on earth that they brought this man on thinking he was for real ready to love. Like, y'all brought him on knowing that this is how he is. So, the good thing about set is typically they don't let you leave with people. So somebody gonna walk you to your car and all that kind of stuff. But I wouldn't want to be nowhere by myself with this man, like at all. He would not be somebody that I would be wanting to be. And they're not, they're gonna be camera people and production and all that are all around the situation, but it's just not, there's nothing happening there on set that would, no guidance from anyone, no counselors, no therapists, nobody that's gonna actually give that other than like, the main producers and people that are going to just like have a conversation if it needs to be had. But someone's going to have to go and say, hey, I feel uncomfortable. I want you to have a conversation with this person. And then we've seen that on camera before, right? Like with the, what's the girl from Potomac that had with Eric and he touched me or whatever. Yeah. So it's like, then y'all still going to put it on camera and make a spectacle out of it. So, if you don't want that, then you got to have some other type of conversation around it. But for them to actually tell him, people kept saying like Tommy should make him leave. Well, for him to do it, they're going to make this go on camera, right? Like they're going to call this person out on camera. It becomes a whole nother bigger spectacle. So it's like, it's all still a part of the entertainment factor of the show. It never, it's not really taken. Look at what happened. I mean, and Habibi, I'm cool with him, whatever, but the reunion and them having him come up there with that doggone saxophone, that killed me. Like, I'm like, this has gone over here. Like, we're just not taking this serious. Like, none of this is being taken serious at all. So I think that's the part that they need to definitely correct if they're going to keep this show going. The way this season looks, I'm like, is this the last one? Because it's feeling very much we've exhausted the way that this show was intended and how, it's been produced. Just looking at the old, you would think having older people, which we don't have enough older people, I don't think anymore on this show. As of our season and this season, it's a lot of young people on the show. Lamar's up. So he should be one of the ones that should be a lot more solid. But, you got to have your character. And I think that's just what he brought to the table, for this particular one, which they used him for what they need to use him for. And now he's gone. So that's why they put him on all the dates this week. They knew that he was going home. All these setups. Maya wouldn't never call that man to be on no date with her in a million years. So we just needed enough footage of him acting a damn fool so he can get out of here because we need a reason, right? So that's all that was. Literally.
Yeah. Thank you very much for that, Aries. I appreciate you. Sean, it's the time.
Real quick, did you see the preview?
where it looks like Alexis is on who is it, Jonathan's lap, and that
He
goes left
pulled
too.
Yep.
her onto his lap.
Yeah, that was
Yeah,
some real inappropriate behavior. So she's gonna have to take back her picking statement because it's about to go to her.
yeah. I felt uncomfortable watching it. My wife was like he actually physically, when she was trying to pull back, he actually grabbed and pulled and wouldn't let me go. So I'm interested to see how. And she felt uncomfortable.
So what's gonna happen with all that? They don't try me because they know I'm not the one. I guess she's gonna have to take it back already.
So fast. And that might be one of those scenarios where Tommy says, let's put it on camera. You know what? We got to get you out of here. You know, because I could see that happening in this instance because it was something physical.
Listen, Owen, I know you guys watch. I know the producers watch. I have, well, I'm not going to say how many years because Seaway already has, aged me out of the, the datings category. So, but I've got plenty of years of management and HR administration experience. Call me. You need some help. Big time.
Well, Sean, please give us a benediction. We are on our way out.
Can I yield it to Seaway today? Because I came in very, very late, and I'm just telling you, she was just, spot on and laser like with her, her tongue today. So I want to give pause. I just want to give it over to her. I had a Lamar moment. Just forgive me. I didn't mean it that way.
Hey, listen, whatever brownie points you got to win with Seaway, you do what you got to do. Seaway, take it away. I don't know what doghouse he's in, but hopefully he gets out of the doghouse.
He's actually not in one.
He's not? Because it's giving him in the doghouse.
No, he hasn't done anything. He's actually been fine.
Yeah, maybe he's building up the points for later on. He about to do something.
Maybe he was just trying to actually yield because he came in late and he respected what I said.
Yeah, it wasn't just that. It's how he came in originally. It's how he came in originally.
Button you. Okay, guys, I have no practice with this, but I'll give it the best that I can. We had a really, really good discussion today. I think there's a couple of takeaways that we can just gather from this in my corporate Aaron swallow gulp. But first things first, if you're a woman, it's never a good idea to be a pick-me or be male identified. It's always good to try to, when you can, identify with another woman's experience, because although it may not be your experience at that time, it could be your experience very shortly after. You never know. Or maybe in the distant future, you never know. So it's always a good thing to try to be mindful that your experience in life may not be the next person's experience in life, but it's good to be empathetic and sympathetic. Also, there's nothing wrong with trying to communicate and help someone out and help a friend out. But it's really important to remember and also to be aware that if you're going to help somebody out, make sure they're in your corner and make sure they're not being chatty patties and going back and trying to use your help against you, because you never want to get caught up trying to help somebody else. Also, if you're going to go on a date, leave the dogs at home. If you take your dogs on the first date, make sure that they're controlled, because if they're not, they may be a big distraction for your date. Next, I have no practice with this. Next, make sure at all times that you're appropriate and that you're being age appropriate and not being you're not sexually assaulting and bothering others, because that could cause problems for you both on the show and off the show. I did take notes. And then lastly, it's okay to try to get to know someone and have an issue if you feel like they're not being honest about their personal life and their situations. But make sure that if you're asking a man or a woman about their life, make sure that you're listening. Listening and actually asking the right questions is the best way to get the answers that you want. And sometimes, because we're so laser focused on what we're looking at, we're actually missing the questions that we need to ask to get the answers that we want. Back to you, Kojo. I tried. This is really hard, guys. Good for Sean. This is really, really hard.
Listen, I think you did an amazing job, Seaway. Amazing job, and I love that. That was a great roundup, Deaconess, as well. I say Deaconess, but even First Lady. But I appreciate you, honestly, man. That was a great roundup, and many more to come. Sean gonna be giving you a few more of those to do, so don't you worry. All right. So shout out to you, Seaway, as well. Listen, audience, thank you so much for joining us. Y'all came out 700 strong to watch this episode and to chin wag with us as well and have great conversations. Please, as always, like, share, subscribe. Thank you to my panelists as well: Aries, Glenn, Sean, Seaway, Jay, JR. Thank you for joining us today. We'll be back here again next week for another installment of Ready to Love. Don't forget, when Love is Blind is on, we will be doing our daily lives again. All right. And then at the end of the week, we'll do a whole panel of people coming on to give their thoughts about the 5 episodes. So we have we'll probably have 3 panels. So over 3 weeks, at the end of the week, we'll have the panel so people can come and have their say about what they saw on the 5 episodes each time it drops. So please get ready to have those conversations as well. But I appreciate every single one of you for coming out. Again, like it, share, subscribe, click on that bell button for notification uploads. And then someone said 4 hours. Listen, we used to be here for 6. Y'all are lucky, okay? We used to be here for 5 to 6, okay? But we're trimming it down now, guys. So thank you so much again once more. We'll see you again next week for another great roundup of conversation as well. Much appreciation. See you again very, very soon.